Welcome everybody to today's stream. Hope you had a nice day so far. Welcome Filthy, welcome. Hope you're doing well today. Let me set up some stuff and we can start gaming. So there we go. So what do we get here? What do we have here? Let's check. Welcome, Machiwara. Welcome, welcome. Hope you're all doing fine today. Yeah, I'm sorry, you know, it's actually quite aggressively, like I would say, with the ads sometimes on Twitch. I can't change that to the most part, so I'm sorry for that then. I hope it stays like not having that many ads in the next few minutes then. That's the hope there. So, I'm so hyped for the beta event coming up next week. You know, it will be so fun to try out all the crazy stuff. It will be really interesting. I will do. I try to get to all the elite specs and try them in most game modes that I can play and stuff. But I'm not sure if I have 7 days to test 9 elite specs in all game modes. Ooh, that will be a challenge. That will be a challenge. I will try to obviously get it done and have some interesting builds cooking and like trying out how they play, but getting like not only the builds together and trying them in all game modes, but also at least getting to some understanding how to play them quite okay. That will be a challenge. I will try to stream a lot of it, but I'm not sure if I can get all of them done, to be honest. Yeah, I caught the stream last night. It was really cool. I think it's really nice if the developers have the chance to speak to the community and tell us what they think, what the idea is. I really like that. So I hope they do that more often, maybe with the upcoming expansion and stuff. So quickly, let's check. Holy moly, 6 people within seconds. It's crazy. Look at this, you know, you look for support, you need like a few minutes, and then you get like DPS within seconds. The people, you know, oh, so greedy. Only play DPS. Yeah, I think the stream, like I said, was nice. I think it's really cool if ArenaNet talks about the stuff that is actually happening, why they think like that they even, and that's the best part in my opinion, that they changed stuff already. You know, we didn't give any feedback yet, or at least we didn't get any. Roaming Spirit, welcome to the group. Welcome also in the chat. Yeah, so the thing is, they changed already some things in the beta event. So we just gave them our thoughts on the elite specs and they changed the luminary, and I think they also talked about changing the paragon, and that's really cool because we already had some kind of like concerns that it's not as good as it like should be, and they actually like tried to already address that. So I'm really happy about that. Hopefully they will also do that way more with the beta event, and after that, even after launch of the expansion. I really look forward to that. So yeah, looks cool. Yeah. Glad you like it, Connie. Really, really. Thanks for your kind words. So everyone is here already. Really fast group. Very nice. I like it. Welcome, Barbaric Disdain. Welcome, welcome. Always happy to hear that, yeah? Ooh, we have even some banner. No, don't engage without the ready check, please, guys. Always wait for the ready check. I'm not sure. Do I have the correct settings? Looks like, yeah. So they just it was a live stream, Filthy, with CMC and Trick, the 2 developers of the Balance team, while also having, of course, 2 community members, so Mighty Teapot and Snapser, on the stream. And they were just like, it was like a podcast where they just talked to each other. It was not necessarily giving us any like specific names to change and stuff. They just talked about general things that they already want to address, how they like, just like a nice get together where they talked about things, how the development pipeline works and that kind of stuff. So it was not really like a developer live stream where they talked about each change that they did and stuff like that. It was way more about like just giving us some input in their internal like structure, how it works and stuff like that. So it was really nice to talk about that. It was not like as informative as other live streams, like for example, where they showcased the amalgam or something. That wasn't the case, but we could see some gameplay of the elite specs already in the background, and we will get that, of course, starting Wednesday. Coming week, we will be able to do that ourselves. So be sure to do that. It's really easy. Just log in during that time, and it's really good. We need more feedback, more testing of the elite specs. So that's definitely something that we need. Yeah. I'm not sure if nerfs to amalgam or in general nerfs are already on the table. I think there will be nerfs coming after the beta test. That much is probably for sure. But I think they will really try to push the elite specs in a spot where they are really good, all of them, so that we have something new to try that is not even like only new, but also extremely strong and fun to play. So there will be some nerfs. I think the CMC already pointed out that the distortion sharing might actually be not coming in the real game after the beta test. So we will see if that's really the case. But yeah, that would be funny that they already like know before the beta test that might not actually make it. So really cool. Yeah. Welcome Napoleon. Welcome. And welcome Arius. Welcome everyone. Nice. Everyone is here already. Crazy, you know, that's a time difference there from Southern California. Greetings to you then. Greetings to you. Nice that you could catch my stream even though it's so late for you. Don't be AFK, come on. Don't worry, roaming spirit. What? We just, okay, then just 9-man this, I guess. Why? Just why? You know, why join a group and then instantly leave? Oh no. Oh. This bad, man. Now we have to 9-man this, and then after this, I guess we have to find a new player. Oh my god, that's so annoying. It's so commanding. Like this stuff makes me really not want to command all the time. It's so annoying, you know. I find a group really fast. Someone joins and they instantly leave after one boss. Now I have to find a group or player for the group that is actually willing to join a group that did like half of the bosses already. What? It's not nice. It's definitely not nice. Naja, what can you do? What can you do? Quick and lag at the same time? Yeah, I think that is definitely, they will look at that as well. Quickness and alacrity at the same time on amalgam, that doesn't look like it should exist. They will probably nerf that after the beta test. I really can't see that coming into the base game with the release and stuff. I think that's too broken. And then we would like see like 8 amalgams and some kind of healer or something, or 9 amalgams and one healer for the whole squad. Something like that seems then the optimal choice. Not healthy balancing, for sure. I don't expect it to actually make that really coming into the game, really. I think that's to be honest, that should not even be possible baseline. I think they should not do that in the beta event either. But I guess they want to have some interesting ideas coming for us to try out. So, I mean, what can you do? We will see. So they did not talk specifically about stuff that is like, in my opinion, it was like a stream that was nice to watch, some interesting information, but it was not necessarily giving you any crazy insights in terms of changes that they make. We will see the changes in the beta event, and we will, of course, also see the changes after that as well, with the upcoming release of the expansion as well. So it was not like they said, oh, we will change this, you know, give like 5 seconds of boon instead of 3. No, that is not the case. So now let's do that 1 second. Minus Shiver and minus Rainier. Oh my god, we will never get someone for that. But okay. They already said the mass distortion is basically going to be removed or changed. Yeah, exactly. I think they really know how broken this can be, and then they said already, it's like, we will try it in the beta event if the distortion sharing is like fun and somewhat balanced, but they doubt it and they will probably remove it. So it's like, they try it, but they already like have the suspicion that it will not work. Oh, we found someone. Very good. Will it provide alacrity as well? Yes, Troubadour will provide alacrity. It's not quickness providing it. So it's like Mirage and Troubadour give alacrity and Chronomancer gives quickness and alacrity, at least at the current state. We don't know if they will rework Chronomancer, if it will be only giving quickness or what the idea is there, at least as far as I know. But in general, it looks really like that Troubadour will be some kind of really good support, but they really emphasized in yesterday's stream that for them, Chronomancer support should exist after Troubadour comes out as well. So there should be a Troubadour support and there should be a full Chronomancer support still playable. So they both should have their value. I'm not sure if they can actually do it, if the balancing actually works out for that. But in either way, I'm looking forward to trying Troubadour, and maybe I will actually enjoy it more than Chronomancer, you know, who knows. But I'm just would be really sad if Chronomancer would be completely dead as a support, because to be honest, I always think like supports that are like good, we need more of those so that we get more flexibility, more just general fun in the game mode, because that is what I like to play after all. Yeah, exactly. Test in the beta. Yeah, I think the stream was like, it was somewhat like nice to have developers talking about stuff, but there was no crazy like examples where you would say, okay, this is like really cool new information. They really wanted to talk about stuff and give us some information about how it works out in the beta test and how their pipeline works and that stuff. But they did not want to give us some really crazy information like saying, okay, Chronomancer gets completely reworked or something like that. They really wanted to keep it close to their chest, I guess, which is fine, you know. It's after all some kind of nice thing of them to talk to us in that manner, because it's definitely not like necessary, or at least not like something that they have. It's not in their job description, at least. Yeah. Welcome, Lotus. Welcome. Yeah, they said on stream no quickness removal for Chronomancer, but the thing is, what I wanted to say, quickness was for sure not going away, of course. I'm not sure if alacrity will go away, but the thing what I want to mention here is as well, they currently don't think about it, but they might change that in the future as well. So you never know exactly what the plan is. But currently they might not change something on Chronomancer like that, but maybe they will do it in the future. We will see. Exactly. I think Chronomancer is like the spec, in my opinion. Maybe Amalgam should be something similar. Maybe like Evoker is something similar, where you have multiple different playable builds, like where you can say, okay, this is a quickness build, this is an electrical build on the same lead spec. But I think removing it from Chronomancer feels like really bad. I really think that should not exist. I hope they will never do it. And they confirmed it somewhat that they will not do it, at least in the next balance patches. Yeah, I think the problem is that a lot of the balancing in Guild Wars 2 with the healers is not necessarily in terms of healing output or in terms of like flexibility and utility skills. Oh my god, don't engage. What are you doing? You're missing one healer. We miss one healer. Without a healer, it's really hard. I want to get the gold reward, you know. So please, like, wait for the ready check. So I hope they changed the mechanics a bit more on Bard. I think that they haven't fully utilized the potential of the instruments. I think the important part, the takeaway for me of the balanced stream, or the not balanced stream, but the talk with the balanced developers, was that they are willing to change traits, utility skills, general profession mechanics, all of that they are willing to change, but they are not really saying, okay, we completely rework, for example, the Gale Bow on Gale Shot. We will not completely remove that and give you a completely different like design for the elite spec. So that's the same, for example, for Conduit, that Conduit will not get crazy, I don't know, F3 and F4 skills, quite likely. That there might be some changes to really crazy mechanics, like for example for Untamed in the first beta event of EOD, they actually did not have any ambush skills, so ambush did not exist in that way. So they added that later, so it's actually quite a crazy mechanic in that sense that they added, but they don't want to add like a crazy new flashy attack or something that is like just like an F5 or whatever, yeah. So they are somewhat set on the profession mechanic, but they will change traits quite drastically. They will change some attack patterns, some just combos and stuff like that. So I'm actually quite hopeful that they will actually address this. Yeah. Yes, I'm from Germany. Yes, that's correct. Sorry for the pronunciation and the accent. Trying my best as always. Yeah, I think Evoker was some of the things that they also mentioned, that there might be some changes coming to the traits, because the traits seem like a very forcing you to play a specific build, so that you can't, for example, if I want to play a quickness DPS, I have to take those 3 traits. There is nothing that I can change. And they wanted to have at least 4 different builds viable, so for each familiar, at least 1 build. That is a really, like, I would say, a good goal. The problem is, it is not that easy in my opinion, because of course some of the traits really force you to take a specific familiar, and some of the traits are just not good enough for that. But yeah, I think in general it looks quite promising what they said on stream yesterday. Not necessarily, we don't know what kind of changes they have in mind, but in general I would say that the comments that they make seem like they actually are willing to change stuff up, even if it's like changing quite drastically how the spec plays. Yeah, so I'm hoping that actually will be the case there for all of them. Yeah, exactly. I actually really think that quickness would be amazing in my opinion on the conduit. You know, the conduit in my opinion should be a quickness provider that is maybe a little bit more aggressive as Herald, because Herald really is struggling right now in terms of identity, and I think it would be amazing if... Come on. Oh my gosh, I couldn't get it in time. Yeah, so for me that would be amazing if we get a quickness on Conduit. I think that seems quite likely. They are actually somewhat changing, or maybe looking at it at least a bit as well, that, for example, the Antiquary might also get some boon. We will see if that's coming, but I think the Conduit is like very likely to actually be the case. So I'm quite hopeful for the Conduit being decent as well in PvE for flexibility issues, because currently it's really like looking like the Conduit is like a DPS spec and that's it. And that's a little bit boring, because it seems it wanted to be the flexible spec. So yeah, we will see. I will test obviously everything in the beta coming next week. We'll test it here on stream. We'll try out every game mode, every class, as hopefully I will have the time for doing all of that. But yeah, looking forward to trying out for sure. So what do we miss? I think we missed the Bone Skinner. Yep, Bone Skinner. Yeah, exactly. So one of the things that I also heard in the stream was that they said, okay, we are willing to change UI elements to some extent from the new Elite specs, but old Elite specs are way less likely that they will actually get to it. So we will see if they actually are willing to change stuff from, like, for example, Bladezorn or stuff like that, where the UI is not like perfect, or at least could be better. So we will see if they will actually get to that, or if they say, no, that's not in our scope. Either way, I'm hopeful that they actually adjust the UI of the new Elite specs, so that's actually even better in my opinion. Yeah, nice to hear, Luffy. Nice to hear. What kind of warrior spec are you playing? I'm currently playing a healing berserker. So it's a berserker, which means that I'm playing like the quite aggressive berserker spec, but I'm actually still playing a healer, which is actually quite strong. People don't know this build. I have a guide about it in my YouTube channel, and I think it's really, really strong in a lot of cases. It's just that you have to know what you're doing, and to be honest, it doesn't really, or it feels a little bit weird to have like a berserker that grows crazy rampage style, and then uses that for healing, but it's fun. It's fun. I like it. Yeah, I think Luminary looks like they are actually quite heavily investing in like making it viable in PvE, not only as a bruiser, but also as an Alacrity DPS, maybe even as a healer. So in general, I think the Luminary looks actually quite promising after yesterday's stream, what they actually told us about. I think it's actually quite likely that it will be a quite decent spec in all game modes, not only as a bruiser, which is obviously quite good. We want that. Oh no, we lost 2 people. Oh, we can't get that rest, sadly. That's a little bit sad. That's okay. Don't worry, Roaming Spirit. Happens. Yeah, I'm not sure if Evoker will be the crazy staff nuke, if that's like the most likely thing to happen for Evoker. But in either way, Either way, I think Evoker will be very flexible in competitive modes to how to play. I'm not sure if it will be a meta spec, to be honest. The problem is it has, like, it competes on Elementalist against Catalyst, which is obviously really, really strong. But I'm hopeful, so we will see. We will see. Herald is my favorite spec in the game and still played most of the time. Yeah, I think Herald, to be honest, I think Herald is one of the specs that is on the top of my list to getting not necessarily a rework, but some kind of buffs to it that give it a little bit more uniqueness. Because right now it feels like Herald could easily be some kind of healer, yeah. But the problem is it doesn't provide that much healing, while also being somewhat like very bad with damage in terms of like quick DPS, for example. So, and doesn't even provide a full healing build. So, yeah, a full DPS build, because the damage output is just horrible. So it feels so sad to play a Herald if you want to play really nice different, I don't know, roles in Guild Wars 2. It feels like Herald is like quick DPS. That's it in PvE. So I really hope they give Herald some more, I don't know, flexibility, some more interesting things going for it. But it's, don't get me wrong, I like Herald. Herald is quite good. It is really safe in the boon output, and it's probably also quite strong in chaotic fights for damage. But in easy fights, you will just not get the damage numbers than other quick DPS. You know, if you look, some quick DPS reach 40k. Herald is around like 32 or something, yeah? There is like almost a 25% difference just in general numbers there. It's crazy to me. It's crazy that they didn't change that yet. Hopefully it comes with the next balance patch at least a little bit. Welcome, DC. Welcome, welcome. Nice. Good morning to you then. 4 AM. That's what we like. Don't worry. Happens. Or 3 AM. Very nice, very nice. You are all quite up, quite late, or quite early, whatever. Yeah, that's good to catch my stream. I like it. They should lock you in one element and let's change weapon. That would be really cool if you change this trait or get this trait with locking you in one element, and you then can use different like weapons, so 2 weapons for example. That would be so good. I'm not sure if it would be game breaking because you would have like crazy flexibility in weapon choices there, but I would really love that. That would be so fun. I'm with you there. That would be amazing, and that would actually make this trait not even in only PvE. Oh my god, I don't want to go there. Not only in PvE, but also in like competitive modes actually somewhat viable if you, for example, I don't know, run Scepter, or what could you run? Scepter, Dagger, and maybe like Sword Focus or something. Then you would have like crazy flexibility in like maybe Earth, something like that. But the problem is always like in competitive mode, locking yourself in one element seems really weak. So I think in PvE that would make it way more flexible for all elements, but in competitive modes I never see that actually happening. But either way, that's a really cool idea. That is in the scope, definitely. Let's see if they want to do it, or if not. It would be really fun. I think Paragon and Heal Berserker actually, at the current state, Paragon doesn't look better than Heal Berserker. So, in my opinion, I think Heal Berserker will be the choice if you want to have crazy 11 boon output. You know, that's what I want to go for. If you want to have the crazy utility with the Undying, like elite skill on Paragon, then you would go for Paragon. If currently like it stays like it is for Paragon the balance, I think Heal Berserker would still be the superior choice in like 90% of the content. Just because Paragon seems like completely like, I don't know, unnecessary in how it actually, I don't know, how it plays. With the, you tell me like an easy boss fight where you actually get use out of the elite skill. Yeah, that's the problem. And Berserker just has way more boon output. And yes, Paragon might have a little bit more support in the utility skills, but who cares? You know, the warrior baseline utility skills are also quite supportive. So I think they need to give some buffs to Paragon, especially the traits. And then we are talking about maybe Heal Berserker will not be useful in like 90% of the cases above the Paragon. But like I said, we will see in the beta. They did not name any specific changes, so can't tell for sure what's gonna happen. So in top 5 specs that I enjoy the most right now, in no particular order, I would say Reaper, Chronomancer, Tempest, Willbender, and Renegade. That is probably my top 5. Just without any like conditions to how strong they are or whatever. Just really like how fun I think they are currently for me to play. That is like the whole thing, to be honest. Yeah. Yeah, I think this idea with the weapon changing while being locked to one element, that is a really cool idea. I would really like that. I'm not sure, like I said, if it will be absolutely broken competitive mode. Probably will still not be useful this trade. But in PvE, I think actually that would actually make a lot of builds viable. So you could go for only water healer. You could go for only fire DPS. You could go maybe for some tanky only earth element bruiser in competitive modes, but I think only air would still be quite weak because air is really relying on like, I'm not sure. We will see. We will see what we get. That's the only thing I can tell you. Yeah, spear and scepter dagger for fire wizard. Actually, to be honest, that sounds like also a very good combo. Yeah. Yeah, I think if you Herald, the problem with Herald is that even if you perform perfectly on it, the numbers are just not there. So I think they should give Herald an option to play as a very low intensity build, which it currently has, just auto-taking for the most part. But the problem is, if you then not increase the number of the crazy high APM build, then why would you pick it if the number is just very bad, you know? So I really hope they will just give it a build that is maybe high APM, maybe somewhat hard to play, but at least having a decent number, like 38 to 40k on a quickness build. That would be amazing. We will see if that's gonna happen, or if they say, no, we only balance right now the new specs. That's the important part. But we will see, we will see. Pistol Warhorn for Tempest? Yeah, that sounds like a fun build, for sure. So, there we go. Some boons. Bonk, yes, bonk, bonk. I wish each spirit animal on Evoker changed the whole trade line. That would be like really cool. I think Evoker is like, for me, a very cool idea. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I just think there is some mismatch between trades and how it functions, and they really have to figure out how they can make it so that there is flexibility with those familiars, while also having some kind of usefulness depending on which familiar you choose. Because right now I feel like in PvE, yes, there is the quickness DPS build, and there might be an alacrity heal build, but other than that, you know, maybe a fire camping fire wizard is there as well, but there will be not necessarily, I think there will be not an earth build, and they are really locking you in. And I think, to be honest, the healing build on Evoker looks quite weak because it only applies region and alacrity. You know, that's not good enough for most fights. You need some stability, some H's or something in there as well. And that's problematic. So I really hope they give it just some more boons, depending on what element you are locking yourself, or not locking, but in which element you are actually willing to invest a lot of trades in. That would be really cool. So hoping for that, hoping for that. They didn't specify, but they said they are aware some trades are lacking. Exactly, yeah. I think they said for sure that they are looking at, or they already changed Luminary, and they are looking at Conduit and Paragon, as far as I understood it. And I think Evoker is also on the list. So I guess that's good for us. Yeah. I'm with you there, Barry. I think Renegade is really fun. I think it's underrated. Not a lot of people play it, especially in like raids and stuff. I think it's a very fun build. Like especially Condi Renegade, I like a lot. It's just such a cool build. I will obviously do a build guide, an updated one about this in the future when I get to it. I think the next few weeks are, however, quite covered, because if you don't know, the next week will be the beta event, and after this, so at the 27th of August, I will start a 0 to hero on my stream here. So I will stream all my, like, so to say, account progression of a new account, and hopefully get, let's see, maybe a legendary before the expansion drops. That would be, so to say, the end goal. We will see. That is the interesting idea that I like want to get done in the next few weeks, months even. So stay tuned for that. And while we already talking about a legendary, don't forget, today is the last day to enter my YouTube giveaway for a full legendary weapon. So if you are not entered yet, be sure to enter. You have a chance of winning a legendary weapon. Yeah, last day. Be sure to check it out. If you're on Twitch, type !giveaway to get the link for it. If you're on YouTube, just scroll down in the YouTube stream description is a link to the video as well. Yeah, it's like they are changes like with the weapon swapping for Evoker is on the edge of the table. Yeah, definitely. I think that's actually quite a drastic change. I'm not sure if they are willing to go that far for like the beta event, but if it really turns out that no one plays Evoker or it's just really weak with the locking trait, they might actually consider that. But yeah, you're right. I think it doesn't look like very likely, to be honest, which is okay. Not every time you have to have like crazy changes. Hopefully it's still viable without this, but it would be really cool if it would exist, to be honest. Yeah. Yeah, shortbow is really fun, that's true. Will your Zero to Heroes also go on YouTube? Yes, Zero to Hero will be on Twitch like live. I will stream every single minute of my account progression. So if you want to get the without any editing, like the whole video, yes, that will be like completely on Twitch. But I will also try to edit it down to make it a very nice, concise watch on YouTube as well, for sure. Yes, so it will cover both platforms and we will see how long it takes and what I can actually make work there. Are you doing full-time streaming plus YouTube, or I have a job on the side? This is just my hobby right now. Yeah, I do a lot of time investment into this, YouTube and streaming, but right now it's not my job yet. Yeah. Yes, new Zero to Hero, exactly. I really enjoy Power Renegade for open world. Yes, I think Power Renegade is amazing in like short fights, like in open world where you just have easy fights, they are just over very fast, or in Fractals where you just want to have like a burst and the boss is dead after your burst is over, stuff like that, there it's amazing. But if you want to play in raids, in like longer fights, Condi Renegade pulls ahead, and then Condi Renegade, in my opinion, is really, really fun. I really enjoy Condi Renegade just for that reason, because it's just like very nice and flexible. I like it. Not true, Roaming Spirit, not true. I would never do stuff like that. Why did I get this box? Where did I get it from? Very interesting. Just select this and let's see how much that is worth. Not that much, okay. So let's wait a little bit. Let's do maybe some event. We still have the Festival of the Four Winds going for the next 10 days. So have to invest some time into getting this stuff. Later I will play some Fractals and some PvP, I guess, as well. Just the overall coverage. As always, if you have any comments, any questions, let me know. Always happy to help you out. And I'm also always open to feedback. If you have any feedback, let me know as well. I always want to improve my content. Yes, I will do the Tier 4 Fractals later as well. Just not right now. I want to do the Chantier Wilds conversions later in 10 minutes. But I will do the Fractal CMs and Tier 4s as well. So we will do that on stream as well. Just some gold farm for upcoming giveaways and upcoming legendaries, I guess. So let's check if we can get some maybe boss splits going. So Renegade has multiple builds. If you're playing a power build, you would use Berserker. If you're playing a Condi build, you would use Viper. But if you're in a solo scenario, so you want to solo a boss, then you would go with Celestial. But like I said, it depends a bit on the situation. Power builds Berserker, Condi builds Viper, and solo builds Celestial. That's what I would like summarize it. The worst I see at single Elementalist Evoker, especially Fire, is not even having a chance to get sustained. Yeah, I think that's a big problem. That you really like Elementalist from a core class design is always designed like you have Fire as the aggressive element, you have maybe Air as another aggressive element with some CC in there, and you have Sustain and Water and Defense and Earth. But the problem is, if you lock in yourself into Fire or in a single element, you will lose out on this flexibility that baseline is in your kit. It doesn't depend if you're a full DPS build. If you're full healer, you always have some utility by swapping elements, and you lose that. So I think it's really hard to balance something that actually makes it so that it's actually working, but it's also not like completely, like, I don't know, destroying the balance of the class by making it crazy overpowered or making it completely useless. I think it's really hard to find a balance there. No, not this one, not this one, there's one. Ah, that is true. Maybe you're right. That is true. Yeah, I think that is the last achievement that I did not have. The Soto weapon achievement was for warrior. Yeah, good point. Good point. Yeah, I think that might have been it. Yeah, let's check it. Yeah, there we go. Now I have all of them. Very good. It was the only one that I was missing. Yeah, good. That's why I played warrior, of course. Yeah, just to getting this achievement passively. No, I'm happy that it's done now. That is was a little bit of a thorn in my eye to not have like all the weapon mastery achievements. Good point, good catch. Did not see that, yeah. I have a video getting into world versus world, but I don't have a guide about getting into roaming specifically. I think that's actually quite a cool idea. Maybe I should actually like do that, because roaming is not something that a lot of people actually know how it works. I'm not sure. The problem is roaming is something that is not necessarily a hard thing to get into, but it's a hard thing to master. So it's in my opinion, might be a little bit, yeah, in the video I would tell you all the time, yeah, just play it, try to get better, try to just practice, get more time in doing it, because you can't really, I can give you of course some tips and stuff, but I think a lot of times, especially in competitive modes like World vs. World and PvP, it's always like, yes, I can give you some tips to get better at it, but the best tip that I can give you, and that's maybe the most boring tip as well, is just play it more, you know, just get more practice in, just, yeah, improve by playing. That really like the most important thing, and that is true, like especially in Guild Wars 2 competitive modes. So yes, I think it's a cool video idea. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Celestial is good for Renegade. Celestial is a good choice, at least if you're not going into group content. If you're into group content regularly, Celestial is okay, but it's definitely not the best choice. So I would say either going for Viper if you like the Condi variant, or go for full Berserker if you like the power variant. The problem is if you go Celestial in like a raid or something, you will be the healer. That's the important part. The healer, and you will also be the tank if you have some like boss where you need to tank. So Celestial is a little bit weird in that regard, because it forces you to play the heal role because you have some healing stats on there. Other than that, you would never play Celestial, you would rather play Viper. Hope that makes sense. There we go, weekly done. Now we can wait for the convergence. Or daily done rather. The easiest start for roaming is actually to first find your class and then start with a more bunkerish build. Yeah, I think roaming is always for new players. I think you should start out with a build that is somewhat tanky, because if you start out with a build, for example, like Spear Mirage, it might have insane burst potential, but you will die like all the time, and then you will probably not have fun playing roaming. Yeah, so it's definitely all about understanding what class you want to play, and then picking the class and finding a build that is surprisingly like tanky. Like, I don't know, playing a Tempest, like a tanky Tempest, or playing like a Catalyst with Scepter Dagger or something like that, and just getting into it, maybe like some kind of Condi Untamed. And then when you played this, you will slowly improve, get more understanding of how to play in roaming, what encounters of, like for example, if you fight against a Deadeye, that can be annoying. If you fight against a Willbender, how to survive against that and stuff. And you slowly improve at understanding this specific like role that you are playing, how to play roaming and that kind of stuff. And then at some point you can switch to a more offensive build, you can learn that one, and you will get slowly ahead and slowly improve at it. I hope that makes sense. This was, so where I was is the Festival of the Four Winds. So currently we have the Festival of the Four Winds, which is split into two parts. This is a festival that stays around for 3 weeks. We currently have like, 10 more days of that. And it's split into two parts. It's split into the Crown Pavilion. That's where I just were. It's in Divinity's Reach, a specific instance. and there you can farm some bosses and you can do some gauntlets where you can get some specific like rewards and titles and stuff, and also skins, of course. And then the second part is the Festival of the Four Winds, so the Sephirite Cliff aspect. And there you have, I can also show it to you, there you have specific boxes. Is it? Yeah. Labyrinthine Cliffs, that's the second location. And there you have some events there, but most of the time you use those traders if you really wanted to, and you can talk to them and you can exchange materials that are just, yeah, not that useful for a lot of people anymore. And you can get those boxes, they're all the same. And if you are lucky, you get some really rare drop, like infusions, and you get a lot of gold out of that. That's like the gambling part of the festival. I would not recommend it. Just sell your materials and you will get more gold in the long run on average. But if you're feeling lucky, you can invest some materials and, yeah, maybe win there. That's the short summary of the festival. That's where I was just now. So as a roamer, I would say there are two ways of playing on roaming. So if you roam and you want to get some world versus world experience to level your world versus world rank, yeah, I'm not that high, but if you want to get to a higher rank, or you at least want to have something to do, then you would flip some camps. So you would just run around the map, would capture some ruins, would capture some sentry posts, would capture some camps, and whenever you encounter an enemy player, you try to fight them. Yeah, stuff like that. That would be like the somewhat PvE mindset, where you also get some rewards while not waiting for a player, because you can't guarantee that there will be a player. Oftentimes there will be, but not all the time. And the second mindset is someone that only cares about PvP. You really only want to fight another player, and then you would probably go either to in front of the enemy spawn, or you would try to stand at the, how's it called, 101 spot. So between the two, in the southern part of the normal map, so not Eternal Battlegrounds and not the Desert Borderlands, there is in the southern part near the bridge, there is this 101 spot, and there you can wait, and there is typically, at least at prime time, there will always be people 101ing, and there you can play some world versus world balance 101. That is, so to say, the PvP only aspect. Those two things exist, I would say. Yeah. But other than that, you're right. Roaming can be quite boring. It's like you run around, and if you're unlucky and roam around when no one else is playing, there might no one like playing with you. You know, you just do some PvE, you kill some guards, that's it. But I would say if you are somewhat like playing to prime time, there is always someone running around and an enemy team, and you will face some fights there. Not always necessarily ones that you win. Sometimes you get crazy outnumbered and stuff, but that's just like this whole world versus world idea. You have to live with that. Would you recommend buying expensive infusions at the moment? I mean, the problem with infusions is, yeah, that's a big topic, so let me answer this very like concisely, at least I try. Infusions have a price, yeah, and you are right, currently the market is flooded with infusions, yeah. So if you look at the Chuck infusions, they are typically they are like 10k gold, and now they got down to like 8.7 or something, yeah. So yes, they are now going down in price, but the problem is with infusions is they never leave the system. So an infusion that got dropped will be there forever. You can't account bind it, the old infusions. So if you get one Chuck infusion and another player gets another one, this means +2 to the whole total environment of infusions. So yes, you could invest into specific infusions right now and say they will go up in price, but it might not be happening this year. We don't know. You know, maybe there is at some point a saturation. No one cares about infusions anymore, and they will stay at this price. So yes, you could do it. It's actually quite a risky move, but if it works out, yes, you could make some profit. But I personally would not recommend it, to be honest. I think investing in infusions is not a very solid choice if you don't know that there will be changes with the expansion coming, because there could be changes with the expansion coming to infusions that make them account bound and stuff like that, and then we are talking, then there might be something that actually is really changing how infusions are account bound. Hope that makes sense. Yeah, those boxes are not for everyone. Yeah, definitely not gambling. I can't recommend it. Do you think it's worth farming Actos for the event for gold? So I would say just do the regular gold farms where you get a lot of unidentified gear, because that's the main source for Ectors. Yeah, rare unidentified gear. So if you're playing a lot of like stuff where you get a lot of, how is it called, unidentified gear, then this is the thing that I would recommend. Why can't I get this? Interesting. Yeah, so I would say farming maps where you get a lot of loot drops, where you get a lot of unidentified gear, that's the best way to farm right now, because then you get some Ectos out of that and you get some nice profit. But farming Ectos specifically, I don't know what you have in mind, but that's probably also the way that you mentioned here. Yeah, I think it's a good way to do it right now, and they will stay for that for the next, like, definitely 2 weeks, and then they will probably slowly go down. But with the expansion coming up, there might actually be a time or maybe a window where they will not go down, because the problem is that we need them for legendaries, and there will be new legendaries coming with the expansion. So 2 are coming at launch, and they will probably need Ectos. That's like almost a given. So it's quite likely that we will have Ecto prices being somewhat high after this festival still. So yeah, I think farming Ecto is a good thing to do, yeah, if you find a way. Yeah, I mean, I played, of course, a lot. You know, I played a lot of World versus World, so that's why my rank is at 4K or something. But there are people that have, like, I don't know, 1.5 million kills or something. So yeah, there might be a lot. Coming from YouTube over to Twitch, do you think it's worth farming Ectos? Yeah, so that's what I just answered. Okay, very good. Yeah, I mean, what can I say? Some people are lucky, some people are unlucky. You know, I invested. I think I can repeat that all the time. I invested 80k gold in worth of like gold into my Blackline chest key opening. You know, those Blackline chests. I opened 2,000 of them for roughly like a 80k gold value. So yes, it was quite expensive. And if you want the outcome of that, be sure to watch the video on my YouTube channel about that, because that's like, I can say, your gambling is not for everyone. And yeah. Thanks, King Pickles. Thanks a lot. Really appreciate the sub. Thanks a lot. But yeah, I mean, I would not recommend gambling in the game or in general in real life as well. It's not, you can't risk it in my opinion, but do what you have to do, I guess. Yeah, exactly, Josana, exactly. What do we rank to do with the greens? The materials aren't really worth that much. So the thing is, in my opinion, there are 2 ways to interact with those pieces of unidentified gear. It doesn't matter which color it has, actually. The first thing that you could do is like selling it. Yeah, just not insta selling it, but selling at the trading post. If you have a stack of it, selling it will be the most time efficient way of dealing with it. If you have some time and don't mind inventory management, you can open it, salvage it, and sell the materials. That is more time investive, but it will in the long run give you a little bit more gold. And that is the same for green and yellow gear all the time. You just have to salvage it with the correct rule and get gold out of that. The problem with that is that you have to sell all the materials all the time. So if you think that is annoying, then just sell them the unidentified gear instantly or without actually salvaging it. So I can't give you a better tip how to make more gold out of that, because you could like craft some stuff out of that, of the materials that you get, and get more gold out of that, but it also is more of a time investment. So it's in that regard always a little bit like, okay, I have to yeah, either invest time or money, or time or like just get a little bit less money rather. Yeah, so that's the problem here. That's the whole thing about unidentified gear. So I would say it's a nice way of getting gold just by selling it, or if you don't mind the inventory management, salvage it. That's my tip there. But we also have some guides on my YouTube channel about this, where I talk specifically about how to make gold and salvage unidentified gear, and where I concisely give you the rule of it and tell you how to process it to get actually a little bit more gold out of that. But it's always, like I said, a time investment. So if you want to play the game and don't interact with your inventory that much, just sell it. Yes. What do you say? I got 1k gems and the contracts getting into my eye. Are they even worth it as a passive income? So the contracts that you are talking about, I would say you should not buy them for gold. Yeah, so when you want to get them because you need that for gold, so that you get some passive income, I would say they are not worth it. They take years to actually like give you the gold back that you invested if you would have bought the gems with gold. So I think you should look at it a different way. So some of those contracts give you, for example, account-bound currency, like Imperial Favor, stuff like that. And that can be, so to say, worth it to you to get, because that means that you in the long run might not have to play EUD metas that often. For example, there are others that are also account-bound currency in there. And this is then, in my opinion, so to say, saving you time. And therefore, time is money. So I would say in that regard, they might be worth it. So you always have to find a sweet spot where you say, okay, this is something that is worth it for me in terms of like time investment, time saved. And then the contracts are worth it, but not necessarily for everyone. I can't say purchase every single contract in the gem store. That is very subjective if that's like helping you or not. Some people like to farm metas and they do that anyway, then the contracts don't provide that much value. So I hope that makes sense there. How to use the wheel for the mount. This is like Blish Hut, and I have a setup guide on my YouTube channel, but it's just the mounts and more module of Blish Hut. So you get this ring here and you can select which kind of mounts you want to have there and what else, like toys and stuff. I use that all the time. Otherwise it would be really annoying currently with all the mounts that are existing in Guild Wars 2 and I want to use most of them. It will be really annoying to have keybinds for all of them. So I really like that one. It's also the thing that gives me the blue cursor around my mouse. It's this same add-on, just a different module. Yeah. Is it better to open than salvage? Yeah, I think never salvage directly. So the biggest mistake you can do with unidentified gear, that's why I didn't mention it, is salvaging directly. So either sell it on the trading post as a like container without any opening, or open it and then salvage. Because if you instantly salvage, you will always get the rewards as if it would be blue. But if you open it, you have a good chance of getting green and yellow items out of that and therefore increasing your value of your blue items way, way more. So it's actually big thing that you should do all the time is open it and then salvage it, never salvage it directly. It's like a gold loss like instantly for sure. I don't have to know the prices of the current market, it's always a gold loss. Hope that helps you. Yeah, it would be cool to talk to the developers, yeah. But apparently you have to be as big as Teapot to get the developers to join your stream. So there is still some time until I get there, I guess. But hopefully we'll get to talk to them at some point. Welcome, Sync. Welcome. Always happy to help. If you have any questions, let me know. I will get there? Yeah, I hope so. It takes some time. But to be honest, I think it would be amazing to talk to more people, especially the developer team. It's always nice to talk to them. Of course, like I said earlier, it's not in their job description. They don't have to talk to us. But it's always nice if you have some input and just some nice human interaction with people that actually care about the game. Especially the balance devs seem like people that actually are playing the game as well. They know a lot about it, and that's good. That's what we want. To talk to guys like that. So, hope so. Open yellow one, then salvage or just sell. So, I would say the yellow ones you can open and then salvage everything that you get out of it, and then you sell the materials. So that's the most lucrative thing to do. But if you want to save some time, you just don't open it at all. Don't salvage it, just sell it, you know? So two parts here, either sell the things here directly on the trading post, it's quite a lot of value, or you open it and then salvage everything and then sell the materials that you get out of it. Never do an intermediary step where you would sell them open boxes. That is stupid. That is just a time loss. Never do that. Hope that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. You know, everyone has their own rule how to do it. Just one tip that I can give you, it doesn't matter what you are doing. Don't salvage it directly. Never do that. That's the stupidest thing, because you will lose out on money. You would get more money by just selling it on the trading post. It's really that easy. It's not made for that. The whole market of the unidentified gears is balanced around that. Yeah. You can even get exotics, exactly. And that's obviously, if you're really lucky, you could get a precursor, and that's obviously increasing your loot quite a bit, or the money that you get out of it. So obviously, I would highly recommend to open stuff just for the chance of getting something rare. But obviously, it's very unlikely. I have to be honest, I opened like millions of unidentified gear at this point, and I think I got like 2 precursors. And it sounds quite lucky, yeah? But you know what the answer to that is? I got like 2 that were worth 10 gold. Yeah, 10 gold. So yeah, not that lucky, I guess. Yeah, could have been something that is 200 gold. So yeah, you could be lucky if you open something and get something nice, but it's not necessarily very likely. Yeah, keep that in mind. Can I ask how many hours you've played altogether and what's your account value? So how much time I've played the game, let's check. We can type /h. And I played the game for 13.6k hours. So quite a lot. But I played obviously since like 2013, something like that. Yeah. So 13.6k hours, quite a lot. Quite a lot. I have to be honest, before I became a Guild Wars like content creator, I was doing a lot of trading post stuff. And I was a lot of like AFK time in there, crafting and stuff like that. So probably like multiple K of those hours are just AFKing at like a specific like location and crafting stuff there. But still, it's a lot of time. But my account value is roughly 1 million. That's my account value. So I have a lot of account value for the time that I played. So hope that answers your question. It's yeah. Crazy. I mean, some people play more than others. That's just how it goes, and I think it's completely fine. I have to be honest, since I started content creating, I actually did not really like play that much of the game anymore. I'm not joking. I think my time that I spent in the game is actually has been going down since I started content creation, because obviously I edit videos, I prepare streams and stuff. So it's way more about interacting with you on stream. That's the time that I play. Sometimes obviously off stream as well, but not like insane amounts that I played sometimes before. It's actually quite funny that a content creator about Guild Wars 2 is now playing a little bit less than he was before playing the game without being a content creator. Hope that makes sense. It's obviously not everyone would do that, but I personally enjoy making content for YouTube especially, and that's obviously something that you don't do necessarily in the game all the time. Yeah. No, it was, I would say it was mostly like refining stuff, like, I don't know, for example, I can show it to you, stuff like that where you get a lot of like mithril ore and you put that into mithril ingots, yeah, and that just takes time. So if you have like 200,000 mithril ore and you want to get it into mithril ingots, that just takes time. So sometimes it was just overnight that my PC ran and was like crafting. So it was not AFK farming at all. It was just like I was letting the game like craft for me, because that's the annoying part. I don't want to sit there and watch it while it crafts. Stuff like that. It was really just crafting. Yeah. Yeah, I'm always happy to talk about stuff like that. So if you have any questions, let me know. I'm from Germany. That's why my accent sounds so strange. But I'm trying my best with the pronunciation. So if you have any civilized, like, helpful criticism about that, let me know. I'm always happy to improve. Just don't offend me for it. You know, I try my best here. You would be amused how many comments I get on YouTube, especially from other Germans that are offending me for my accent. That's the most funny part about being a German, is being offended by other Germans for the bad accent. That's like the main thing here. But I try my best. So like I said, constructive criticism is always appreciated here. So let's get this done. Luckily we only have like decent boss decimer, not that annoying one. Very good, very good. And then we do the fractals after. Good point, Filthy. Good Good point, Filthy. I think in one of the videos I was also mentioning something, I think it was a tier list, and I was like talking about that something is like depending on the situation or something, and it might change in the future. And there is this English word asterisk, asterisk, how is it called? I never pronounce it correctly, this star icon. And this is like, I pronounced it completely wrong like I just did, and like it was so funny because I watched it later and I was like, what am I talking about? So yeah, sometimes you just do mistakes. I mean, I hope that's understandable. It's fine, I think everybody sounds different. I mean, it makes sense if I'm content creator to at least be understandable. That's the important part. But if everyone here in chat can understand me, I'm happy, and I tried my best to improve on that. But yeah, I mean, it's just like, you can't, like, it's not my native tongue. So how can I, like, I don't know, make it perfect? It's really hard. Just practicing, at some point I hopefully get to a decent state, but it's not something that you can force, sadly. I would if I could. Yes, I play more. I would say Guild Wars 2 is for me a game that I play like 90% of the time solo. Yeah, that doesn't mean I play only like open world and stuff. You can see I'm playing like convergences, strike missions, fractals and stuff, but I don't have any statics or any like people that I play with right now, at least. There was a time back at Heart of Thorns or something like that where I played some raid statics and stuff, where there was raiding quite big, but nowadays raiding is not that big anymore, so I don't have a static for that. So I was really like 90%, even more of the game, 95% of the game I just played alone. I just had fun with people being around me, but I did not like force a group or a static or something like that. So I'm the classic Guild Wars 2 solo player, I would say. Maybe someone that is a little bit more invested in the game, not as casual, but the gameplay loop looks quite similar, I would say. Asterisk, exactly. That's the word. That's the word that I was looking for. Only thing on your YouTube videos, you might slow down a bit when you do speak. Yeah, I heard that before as well. The problem is, it's really like, you have to find a balance, I want to make, that's what I always want to emphasize on the YouTube videos especially, is I want to give you the most amount of information for your time. I don't want to make a 30-minute video just to make a 30-minute video. If I can put the information into a 10-minute video, then I would rather do that, because I like to have my information concisely in a specific video. I don't want to give you the information over 30 minutes and you might fall asleep after 20 and you will never like get to the point where you actually got the information that you came to get. So that's my whole idea. I can get why you say, oh, sometimes I'm talking too fast. Sure, that might be an issue, but you could always slow down the video or watch it again. But if you fall asleep and you shut off the video, that is way worse for me, because then you will not get the information that you came to get, and I will also not get my views that I normally get, because the algorithm heavily punishes me for people just stopping watching my video. Hope that makes sense. This is why I sometimes talk a little bit faster than you would expect me to, but I hope that makes a little bit more sense now. Yeah, it's the battle princess, exactly. Returning player here, just want to say thanks for all the guides. Nice, happy to hear that. Welcome back to the game, and if you have any questions, be sure to ask them, not only here in the chat, but also of course on our Discord server if you have specific questions, or under the YouTube comments. And more guides to come. I have a lot of guides prepared. I'm always like, my to-do list is huge, but don't worry, there will be more guides coming, especially for new players. Yes. Yeah, there might be a full Elementalist ranged Evoker. Actually, it might be playable. But the thing is, I think Evoker, for me, looks really fun. Don't get me wrong. I'm just at this point, I'm a little bit scared that Evoker is just outclassed by Catalyst, sometimes even by Tempest. So the thing is, they really need to give it some unique strength. And it would be really cool if it would be the ranged element. That you could say, okay, Elementalist with Spear, maybe with Scepter, is really strong if you lock it, because you get some kind of buff, because you lock your attunement or something. Then Evoker might shine. But before that, I really think Catalyst will always be just the superior option. I really think so. So we will see if they come up with something unique and something crazy, but it might not be the case. It might not be the case. Yeah, either way, I'm very excited about the beta event and of course the expansion coming. I think for me the expansion is actually way more hype than Soto and Chance Walzber, because they give me the lead specs to try out and they give me some core feature reworks, which is exactly what I'm into. You know, I want to get some new UI, some better features in the game, while also getting more builds to play. I don't care if there is like crazy story instances or if there is like 10 maps. I don't care. I would do like the old Heart of Thorns maps over and over if I get new elite specs. So that's why this expansion is way more hyped up for me. So yeah, really looking forward to that. And it starts with the beta event. I will play a lot of the beta event and give you my feedback, give some nice, hopefully, builds as well. They might change, of course, but either way, I think it's quite exciting times to play Guild Wars 2. So be sure to stick to my channel and you will see more of that. Yeah, I think, to be honest, that's the problem. I think we will never get, or at least not in the next year, we will not get any new weapons. That's like confirmed. We will not get any longbow for Elementalist, any greatsword or scepter offhand. No, that will not happen. We will stick to the current weapons. There might be more weapons coming in the future, but not right now. It's all about the new elite specs and the traits and the skills and the profession mechanic. We will not get any new weapon skills, because you also have to think about it like that. New weapons that you would introduce with the elite spec would be, because of Soto, also useful on all other elite specs, and then it's actually quite a lot of balancing, and that's why they don't do it right now. Maybe with the next expansion we will not get elite specs, but we might get weapons for each class. Might be happening, but before then we will not get any new weapons, and I'm not even sure if the next like elite, or I think new elite specs seem very unlikely with the next expansion, with the after that, but it could be. And I'm not even sure when the next expansion will happen. They have not confirmed it yet. So might there be one? Might there be none? When will it be? We will not know it until they confirm it. And I would say new weapons, maybe. New elite specs, very big maybe. But either way, I think until then, no new weapons, that much is confirmed. And I think balancing is probably quite horrible with new weapons or elite specs. So maybe we will never get that. Yeah. Just choose the class. Choosing a class in Guild Wars 2 is not as like strict as you think it is. You know, you can easily swap to a different character and play a different class then. Just start with the one that you enjoy the look of. All of them are really strong. I have a video where I showcase all of them, so all elite specs, where you can see which one is the most fun one if you're a new player. But if you're a veteran, just start or play one that you enjoy. You will always have something that is strong in each game mode. No class is completely garbage in any game mode. So just play what you enjoy and try it out, and you will find something. Hope that makes sense. So let's clean a little bit up here. Do you need the new expansion pre-purchase to play the beta event? No, you don't. That's the cool part. You can play the beta event without having pre-ordered the expansion, which is really nice. So you can try out and see, oh, this Troubadour looks insane. I really want to get this. Sure, then you pre-order it. But if you say, it feels clunky, I'm not so sure yet, then you can wait. That's the cool part. It's really nice. So yeah, definitely nice thing of them. You don't need to have any expansion. You can just log into the game starting 20th of August, and you will have the chance of actually getting the time in your beta event. Yeah. So let's catch up on chat. Fire only Tempest with Staff, 30k DPS. That's actually not that bad. I'm surprised. Was it like a high APM rotation? Because it doesn't look like it. Probably it sounds like a decent, like low intensity build. Then if you then would play that with Evoker, probably that sounds actually surprisingly good if you get 30k on Tempest already. you might actually get more on Evoker. Yeah, surprising, Roaming Spirit, surprising. Yeah, I'm with you there, Baron. It would be amazing if you get an offhand scepter, but I think it looks quite unlikely. That's the problem. We will never get stuff, in my opinion, in next year, maybe even never, ever, that is like altering too much. Like a scepter in the offhand would be really cool. I'm not sure if they will ever do it though. Yeah, Virtuoso can be quite squishy, that is true. That is true. But if you want to play Mirage is also squishy, but has a lot of dodges. So maybe if you want to play something more tanky, maybe go for heavy armor class, but it depends a bit, yeah. So, I'm good. I've just gone back to Guild Wars 2 and wanted to start doing some strike missions. What are some easy noob-friendly strike missions with good gold? You would start with those that I just did, like Iceblood Saga's 5 strike missions. So here in the Eye of the North, you go there, here in the Eye of the North, and then is this portal, or you can just look for people in the strike mission tab, and it's typically advertised at IBS 5. This is like really easy strike mission, really good, take 15 minutes, 10 to 20 minutes, depending on how good the group is. Then there are currently like 5 or 6 that you can do. Really easy, highly recommended, and you will get good gold power with it. And you can do it very fast. I mean, then it sounds very promising, to be honest, Roaming Spirit, yeah, I like it. I will say for new players, try to choose a class that is power focused. I started this week and was so happy I didn't have to grind for Condi gear. Yeah, that is maybe a good point. I think it's always... The problem is you don't have to have the perfect gear in the first week. Keep that in mind. So just get your character to level 80, have some fun, and if you enjoy the class, you can at some point purchase the correct gear for it. But if you don't, especially during leveling, you don't need to get any new gear. You know, I would say if you reach level 80, then you can slowly get your gear, but it's not necessary at all. So keep that in mind. But should we do that? Or yeah, let's see. I finally hit max mastery rank at the end of Soto. Kind of want to stay there from now on. Yeah, I mean, that's probably quite easy because the new masteries that are added, typically you can get those within a week. Yeah, so if you are done with the Soto ones in Chant des Wilds, they don't have that many. It's like very easy to farm, and you will get that done until like the new expansion comes out. And the new expansion comes out, there will be like, I don't know, maybe typically it's like 50 or something per expansion. And you get that in the first week, maybe if you want to go somewhat try hard. And that's not too bad. It's really like to get to the maximum, that takes a while, but if you're there and you want to keep up with it, not too bad. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying my best, Clock. That's the thing. If people have a specific like point that they want to get an answer to, they have a question, they don't know what to do, I always want to help them. It's just in my blood, so to say. Yeah. I'm sorry if you don't like me like teaching or transferring knowledge. Yeah, that's too bad then, sadly. Yeah, Arcane Echo looks promising as well for fire camping elementalist for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I think in general that's the problem with a lot of the masteries. You know, the core masteries, I would say Fractal and Pact Commander are really good. Heart of Thorns masteries are probably the best in the game. Then you have Path of Fire, which are also quite good with the mounts. And then it drops off heavily. I would say Iceblood Saga masteries are really bad. Secrets of the Obscure masteries are mostly bad. End of Dragons masteries are also... Fishing is quite nice. That's about it. And then Chant des Wilds is horrible. The masteries, in my opinion, are like... maybe the Warclaw is useful, but all the others are like... They don't provide that much, you know. It's like, yeah, you get some more recipes and you get some more value from the vendors and stuff, but come on, it's not changing the gameplay. Look at gliding, look at like the Nuok and like Itzel lore, where you actually get access to new areas, where you in raids maybe not that much, but like the lore and especially gliding is insane how it changes your gameplay. The same goes for the mounts, yeah. If you get access to the Griffin and get some more fast movement with the flap and the aerial prowess, it's amazing. So I think masteries are not where they used to be. It's a little bit sad. Hopefully with the new expansion that changes, but yeah, can't promise Can't promise. Yeah, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do some fractals CMs. I have 3 Black Lion gathering containers. I was thinking of saving it in case they come out with a new volatility type rune. Can that happen? So typically, if there is some new kind of rune coming out, it is not very common that they will add that to the old stuff. So you have to get the new, like, gathering tool. You will not typically have access to it because you saved something up. Yeah. So I would say use it now, but if you want to be on the safe side, wait for it. But I think it's quite uncommon. I never saw that, to be honest, that there was something added in a box that was extended. And I save a lot of those boxes. So yeah, maybe it will happen, but I never saw that, to be honest. That's good that you appreciate it. I like it. That's good. That's good. Arcane Echo is such an amazing skill. In Guild Wars 2, it's completely different than in Guild Wars 1 as far as I know. It's just like completely resetting the next weapon skill that you use on Elementalist, or at least for 25 seconds. And that means that you can, for example, cast 3 healing rains on Catalyst. You can use it for example, you get 2 meteor showers, stuff like that. It's actually really, really cool and really fun. I like to play it, yeah. Yeah, Fractal 99, if you don't do the challenge modes, it's horrible. I would never do it in normal mode. Like Silent Surf, normal mode, I think I did it once. You know, it's like the only Fractal that I don't know what to do in the normal mode, because I only do the challenge mode. The challenge, or I somewhat know what to do, but I forgot what to do most of the time. So yeah, it's actually like 99 I would never do in normal mode. It's horrible. I looked your Mirage video and never played it before and really want to start dying. But can I say something to the class builds for plebs to me? So, yeah, I mean, the thing is, Mirage, if you're referring to the build from yesterday that I released yesterday, the 53k DPS Mirage, that is a very, very hard build to play. So if you're a new player, sure, if you like a challenge, go for it. But it's not something that I would recommend like for everyone to play. It's not that easy. So keep that in mind. Yeah, the Warclaw is nice, don't get me wrong. I think the Warclaw is the best addition to the game from Chancellor Wild's Masteries. But that's about it. There is nothing more than this Warclaw. That's what my whole take is, yeah. Yeah, I agree with you, Baryon. It's not... Heart of Thorns might not be perfect either, but I think if you look at the Masteries, they are all not... There is not a single expansion that is like perfect, in my opinion. I think Path of Fire has really cool ones with the mounts in there, but there are a lot of masteries that you would say, oh, I mean, doesn't really change that much. So, yeah, I think personally, yeah, I mean, masteries, there are some really good ones like Gliding, like, I don't know, the Auto Loot Mastery, that's amazing, stuff like that. But other than that, I don't know, it feels like most masteries are just like some kind of grind to get the maximum amount of like mastery points. Do I stand in it? No, very good. Did we activate the challenge modes? I did not know. I think we did. Hopefully we did. There we go. Yeah, Iceblood Saga Masteries is like probably the worst Masteries in the game. I think, to be honest, Iceblood Saga Masteries, for me, it feels like it's so bad. It's so bad, to be honest. I think, don't get me wrong, they are strong. You use them. I use them all the time in Iceblood Saga 5 strike missions and like for the CC tool thingy. But it's really like, I don't know. It just feels very bad. It's not really a good thing to unlock. It just feels not that good. Yeah. Yeah, Path of Fire Masteries overall might be the best, yeah. That is true. But I think Gliding is the most game-changing one for me. That's why I like it so much. Yeah. Is there anything on your wish list for Skimmer in Visions of Eternity? I was surprised that it's the Skimmer, but it makes sense. It's after all some kind of watery area. I actually expected the Roller Beetle being the mount that is somewhat like the main focus here. But no, we didn't get it. Yeah, but I think I have no clue what I would actually wish as a... Oh my god. I'm not sure what I would wish for the Skimmer as some kind of like new addition, to be honest. I'm really not sure. It will get some kind of combat attack like the Sky Scale that we saw in the trailer, but to be honest, other than that, I have no clue. I really don't know. Maybe faster movement, even faster movement on water. So, yeah, just hoping for good things. That's the important part. Yeah, the treasure mushroom, you know, I don't know how many times I actually killed the treasure mushroom and didn't get anything, you know. It's, yeah, I think it's a fun idea, but I can see your pain there for sure. Yeah, I think it's not about the grapple hook, to be honest. For me, most of the time, it's actually really like, I just don't like the playstyle where you have to like do puzzle mechanics for like, I don't know, 90% of the fractal, and then you are like at the boss, and it's like, it's the boss, you know, it's just the boss. And you could easily just skip the puzzle mechanics and do the challenge mode, and you will get more loot for it, and you have the same like kill time. So, I don't know, that's why I never do it. We will see it after this fractal. We will go to the challenge mode of the other one, and it's really like, it doesn't feel that great, to be honest. So if you're wondering what kind of weird build I'm playing here, this is a very specific build that you only play in this fractal. So it has insane amounts of lifesteal, and therefore it's like absolutely crazy in the specific end boss here. I will also activate my self stats, so you will see that. So typically this build reaches around 100k DPS or something in this fractal, so quite good, quite good. That's why I like to play DPS here in this fractal specifically, because then I can play this role and do some heavy damage to the boss. So let's kill him. Yeah, exactly. That's what DPS and gluttony means. That's like, I'm taking care of DPS in like all fractals, and on this specific fractal here, I'm filling the gluttony role. So there will be orbs at the end boss here, and one of the orbs is called gluttony, and it will give you some heavy buff that increases your lifesteal like insane, or not increases your lifesteal, but makes your attacks lifesteal. And each of the attacks will lifesteal. So that means you want to have like this fight, for example, or this build here, for example, that has a lot of multi-hits, and all of them will steal life. That's why it's so good in this specific fractal. Other than that, you will never use this build. And you also use the lifesteal increasing relic. So it's just insane how good this build works in this fractal. You will see it in a second, but it is really like, after that I will just play normal DPS. So there we go. Let's activate the self stats. So you can see it here on top how much DPS I do to the boss. Hopefully it works out well. Yes, you need to get Soto to get the Relic of Pater. That is correct. Sadly, that is the case. I think there will be a lot of cool new relics coming with the next expansion, and you will also need the new expansion for that. The relics are always locked behind the expansion that they are off. There are some core relics that are not locked, but a lot of the really good ones are sadly expansion locked. So that's just... No, don't knock them. Yeah, that's just how it goes, sadly. I mean, it makes sense. They want to sell the expansion. Yeah, I mean, you would never do that in normal mode. It's not important in normal mode, but you will see, you can look up here at the left-hand corner, in the top left-hand. You see how much DPS I will do. It will be insane. You can, of course, also see that on screen, but it's a lot of multi-hits. All of them, like, remove, like, a little bit of health of the boss. But other than that, it's like, it takes a while. It's not like in the beginning. It takes typically, like, a few attacks until the boss does this. and then you will see it. And then I will probably also not die anymore because I have obviously insane lifesteal numbers, which is always like, there we go, this is my attack. I have to collect those gluttony orbs, just like in normal mode as far as I know. And now my DPS, you see those white numbers, this is lifesteal. And this will increase drastically how much DPS I do. Sadly, you only see it in the self stats. You will not be able to see it in the group stats, so here it will not show up. So I'm the only person in this group that sees how much DPS I do, other than the DPS of on the boss. But you can see how the numbers are like quite big. So here I don't want to deal that much damage to get another of those attacks out, because at 60% he phases again. Do one more attack, please. Spin, nice. There we go, I can collect another one of those. Now we can phase it, and I get like 12 of those orbs, so I have like insane lifesteal. That's the whole idea here. And then after that, it's just like free farm, hopefully, this boss. It's really like the first boss is like the first part of the boss is the hard one. After that, I just like try to one-shot all the mobs here. You can see how much damage I do to those mobs just by lifestealing like crazy. Like at 67k DPS already. Will probably increase, hopefully. There we go. I will catch up in chat in a second, you know, just let me concentrate and not grief the group here. Get some CC down. We need more CC, my friends. Oh, no. Okay, this was a little bit slow CC, but okay. You see, if I get hit in it, I don't get one shot. It's like almost impossible to die, because I will instantly like revive from that. From my lifesteal. Maybe I go there with my group first. It's a little bit scuffed, to be honest. A little bit scuffed. Need a little bit more, I don't know. My cleave is okay. Okay, they pulled all of them. That's good. Let's concentrate here. Just get the damage out. I mean, this build is fun to play, as you can see. It's really crazy how much damage it does. But it is also heavily dependent on the group. So if your party does not take care of the other orbs, you will not succeed with this build either. But if you do your job on this build, you will probably have a better time than each other player here in the group. Because it's just like very important that you know what you're doing. Come on, die. This is really annoying. I'm not sure if we actually get like... Why is this thing not dying? Because I lost all my orbs. That's the problem. No, I lost all my damage. That's not good. Maybe that's a reset, to be honest. Yeah. That doesn't look good. That's not good. I lost all my lifesteal orbs because we took so long here. Got stripped here. That's not good. So now it takes a long time. I'm not sure if we can actually get it. Let's see. We will try. Yeah, there we go. That's the reset. Oh, an Omega tier list with each class, the best class for each encounter. Ooh, that would take ages. Maybe we could do that at some point, but it is actually... Yeah, that would probably take a while. Let's see if I will get to that. Maybe after the expansion, maybe before if I get to it, but there will be the 0 to hero, which is the main like thing until the expansion comes out, so I guess we will see. See you, Trosana. See you. So, there we go. Next try. Hopefully last time. So, obviously in the beginning I have almost no damage, so I will just like be, I don't know, standing in the back and... Come on. And hope for the best. getting my attack. Very good. Where is it going? There it is. Collecting gluttony globules, and now I can do some damage. Hopefully not too much, because I want to get 12 stacks of them. CCing. It's quite good. Could even take more CC, but I greed a little bit for DPS here. And let's wait a bit more before I go in with more damage. Wait. Just please do the spin attack. No, not this one. I think the next one should. There's the spin attack. Very good. 12 stacks again. And now we face him. Very good. And hopefully this time we clear the ads fast, because that's the fractal part where it's the most important, is that you clear the ads. If you don't clear the ads, then you have a problem. But it's really like nothing else matters. It's just the ads, to be honest. If you do the ads fast, the boss itself doesn't do that much. It's really like the ads, and that's about it. Seeing a bit. Nice, we did it. Yeah, it's the normal. It's not the normal mode. It's just a challenge mode. Nothing too special. Nice. I didn't get targeted by this, because this strips your attacks, your globules. You never want to get stripped, of course, as the main DPS here in the group. A little bit too early, but it's fine. No, don't move him out of my attacks. Nice, we get more gluttony orbs. More gluttony. Now I have even more lifesteal, that's even better. And hopefully we now burst this. Look at this damage. No, I lost some of my orbs. No. That's fine. Hopefully we still get the kills. It's actually this attack actually helps me multi-hitting as well. The flux bomb. That's quite nice. No. So I'm the only one actually going for the should be going for the boss. The others should close the rifts, so that we can actually close the rifts so that no more mobs spawn. I lose my orbs. That's not good. We need more damage. That's not that nice. Feels like my group is not handling all the mechanics perfectly, but it's fine. Hopefully we will still be able to do it. This time it was way better than last time, but still not perfect. Normally this guy should not have any stacks, or not, at least not that many. It's okay. I have some gluttony orbs, but not that many left. But my damage is like really bad right now. Typically I should have at this point be 100k DPS on the top left hand corner, but I'm not. So yeah, so hopefully that's like, apparently that's like only a 10k group. So normally I go for higher. Nice, we get more gluttony orbs, that's good. Now we have more damage again, and we can hopefully kill this boss very fast. No, they are dead. One of them is dead, okay, that's... I don't have my CC yet. It's not perfect. But I can do some damage. Nice. I think we now get the kill, I hope so at least. Yeah, it's a little bit scuffed, to be honest. Little bit scuffed here. I don't know what the problem is, why my people are dying here. Yeah, normally I'm playing with more experienced players, and then it should actually not matter that much. You see, I'm just at this point I don't heal anymore. I just want to like make sure that I deal damage, because then I will heal. And resistance obviously helps a lot as well in this. No, we get another CC. Not good, not good. Yeah, hopefully we are done now. Looks like we are done. Yeah, this is the kill, hopefully. There we go. Painful. Yeah, they died. That's a little bit sad. A little bit painful, but good enough. We did it. Now I can play DPS. Welcome, Alka. Welcome. You made it. What about videos on medium intensity builds? Okay, so what defines a medium intensity build? You know, that's the what I would really like to do a video like that. So what is a good medium intensity build, you know? So probably the Mirage build that I just like released yesterday is a high intensity build, yeah? And a low intensity build would be like probably something like a Hammer Dragon Hunter or something. But what kind of build would be medium? Anything in between? I have guides. Anything like that in between? I have guides about it. So I'm not sure. I think it's really hard to define what exactly is a medium intensity build, but I have that. I have that to some extent. So you can farm hero points in Heart of Thorns, you can farm them in Path of Fire, and you can farm them in End of Dragons. Those are the 3 expansions where you can get those. Yeah. You need a second hand? Okay. Yeah, I guess then there are some builds out there, and I have some guides about them, of course, on my channel as well. For example, I mean, it depends if you... I personally think my Untamed build, I have a... how's it called? Condi Virtuoso build. Those are like somewhat higher APM, but still very, very strong, and not as high APM as, for example, the Condi Mirage build that I posted yesterday. So you just have to look at it, but a good point. I should actually maybe make some kind of like marker and say this is a low intensity build, that's a high intensity build, that's a medium intensity build. I think that might actually be fair to make this statement. But yeah, I think it's really hard to judge, because some people, I always mention that here in chat, some people are not really caring if there is high APM, if they just have to spam the same button over and over again, like for example on Quickness X Berserker or something like that, then it doesn't matter to them that that's the case, that the APM are high. And there are some people that say, if I have like 10 different buttons that I need to press, but over the course of a full minute, I don't care about that either. So it's really hard. Some people like specific builds, some people like those builds. It's really, I try to find a nice balance and releasing builds of different like levels all the time. So I hope that makes sense. Why are we like, what's going on with this group? Just camping one weapon attunement swap? That's medium? Okay, I mean, that's then the fire camping, for example. Fire camping Tempest build. That would be like only fire attunement, yeah? That is medium, maybe, I guess, yeah, fair. So low intensity would only be like only using auto take or something. Yeah, that is also okay, yeah. Fair point. Fair point. Let's concentrate again on the fight. I'm not the best on Condi Harbinger yet. I'll try my best here to get this somewhat decently done. But I'm not the best at this build yet. I'm still learning, you know, still learning. I'm more of a power word enjoyer than a Condi Harbinger. So let's get this. Let's try. Focus more on the fight, and then I will catch up and chat after this boss. But this is the boss that I meant. You know, I know this boss in and out, but in the normal mode I did like twice or something. Okay. So far I mean, the opener was not that great, but my rotation after that was okay. I've been playing a quick DPS Untamed. Yeah, quick DPS Untamed is really fun. Do you have any suggestion for a newer guard player? I think don't play Firebrand. Firebrand is a class that is really fun and really strong, but you need to actually like be decent at it to make it work, at least in my opinion. So I personally would not recommend starting with Firebrand as a newer guard player. But other than that, to be honest, I think Willbender is a good choice. Yeah, Willbender, Alacrity Willbender. They are not like that easy. That's the problem. I think Guardian builds, especially the like really try-hard ones, they are all a little bit high on the APM side. That's just how Guardian works right now. It's sadly the case. It's really like not perfect in that regard, but I think Willbender might be your best choice there. I think Dragon Hunter can be better, but Dragon Hunter is also not as flexible as Willbender, because you have to play DPS and you have to play power DPS, which is not always the best choice. But of course, it's in 90% of the cases really strong. So I guess that is a fair, I don't know, build that you could play as well. Targets me all the time. Okay, I guess not. What? That was scary. It did this attack twice on me. Very scary. We lost our Firebrand. That's also scary. Okay, they orbed. I guess that's okay. Give me some healing, please. Please. Oh no, I lost my Invuln. That's also not good. This is not the best group, to be honest, sadly. I'm not playing good either, but I'm, you know, learning and streaming at the same time. But my party is dying left and right. Not good, not good, not good. So let's think about what medium builds there are as well. I personally think it's hard for me to justify what build is medium and what is like very hard or very easy, because I think for me builds that are hard is like quite limited to really, like, I would say probably, like, for example, the Mirage version. I think that I released yesterday, that one is really hard. I personally think mastering Power Scrapper is also not that easy, stuff like that. But I think some medium builds, I, for example, personally think Condi Virtuoso is really easy to play because you just spam your F skills all the time. That's the whole rotation of the build. But I can see why you would say it's a little bit too spammy for most people. Yeah, it's really hard for me to come up with a medium build. You know, for me, the very easy builds are, for example, Power Dragon Hunter, only using him auto attack, or my, I don't know, for example, Unload Deadeye. It's really easy, only spamming Unload. But that's about it, you know. Finding a medium spot, all builds are somewhere in between, you know. That's the thing. So I will try to come up with more of those medium builds, I guess. For example, I personally think Rival Mechanist uses way more buttons than the Hammer Auto Attack only Guardian, but it is 40k DPS, so that is probably the best choice for most people, because 40k DPS on like spamming rival skills all the time seems like a good choice. But yeah, it's also not perfect. For example, I would not use it in fractals, especially bursty fractals, because you have no burst. It's like 0 burst. You have like a flat line. So also not for everyone. Yeah, Power Virtuoso is really nice. It's combo based. I like Power Virtuoso. But again, Virtuoso has the problem, or not the problem, but at least I noticed that all the time, that Virtuoso is not a build that you play and you like have no buttons after a while. You always have to spam some buttons there. Yeah, and better safe than sorry and clear this mob. I don't want to vibe at the end here. Okay, very good. So normally you don't have to do it here at the end, but I just want to be sure that my party is not feared down. So that's why I do it here. Kitless Power Quickness Scrapper. Yeah, that is true. That if you work without any kits on Engineer, oftentimes that's quite easy. You can also play the Condi-based Spear Mechanist. That is also quite easy, especially if you go for no kits. Yeah, good point. There are actually some nice builds there. No. Yeah, that was a very bad showcase of a Condi build here. Very, very bad. What can I do? You know, just trying to get better at the build. There we go. We did it. I have a real question about the Fractal. What if I don't have a boss to kill on an island? What do I do? You just wait. Exactly. Yeah. If you don't have any boss, then or a mob that spawns, you just wait until everyone else did it. That's the whole thing. There are not necessarily always like people assigned to each island. Sometimes you don't have to do it. Yeah. That's how it works. That's the whole Fractal. Yeah. You just watch them other people do the job. Yeah. Hopefully. Medium might be a low intensity build. You actually push your buttons. That is true. That is true. I guess Rival Warrior is not very high action either, since all your damage skills are emulation skills. That is true, but I'm not sure. Wait, what's going on? Should I play Condi here? Let's play it. I want to learn this build after all. And power comes with the next one. Yeah. It's actually, I think kitless engineers, a lot of people say, oh, I have to play the meta build using 4 kits, you know, 4 kit Condi's quickness scrapper, and this is the only build that I can play. But to be honest, most people would probably do more damage if they would just play a kitless version, or at least only 1 kit and not go for 4 kits directly. So good point, yeah. Kitless quickness scrapper is actually surprisingly good. Thanks for all the follows, really appreciate it, by the way. Returning player looking for a class to complete Overworld and get into Fractals, Guardian or Ranger? So I would say Guardian is better. Guardian is typically a little bit better in instance content because you can play Firebrand, Willbender, Dragon Hunter. But you could also go, for example, for Druid but for Fractals is not that good. I personally would say Soul Beast is really good in Fractals. And Untamed is really good in open world. But if you want to... What? Okay. Let's concentrate again, and then I will get back to the question here. But I personally think Guardian is a little bit slightly pulling ahead. Slightly. That was a weird opener, but okay. Very weird opener, I'm sorry. That you had to watch this. Still learning, still learning. Please don't judge. Yeah, I think Guardian and I think both of them are completely fine. Just want to say here that probably Ranger is only being played in Fractals as Soul Beast. Like this is like the most... but all of them work, don't get me wrong, all of them work perfectly fine. That's like how Fractals, or especially open world, is balanced in Guild Wars 2. Even core specs are really good. Just go for the one that you enjoy the most. I personally would say Guardian is a bit more flexible overall, but that's just my preference. Doesn't mean it needs to be like that. You can also be very flexible on Quickness Untamed, DPS Soul Beast, and Healing Druid. That works as well. Just Druid is not that good in Fractals. I would not recommend that there. Hope that makes sense. But for open world, every single thing works. Yeah. So that's just really, really good. No, they cleansed my stuff. They cleansed my stuff. No. So let's hopefully get this time the CC. No one CCs, okay, I guess then we don't CC. I guess no one wants to split. Classic. Classic. We will catch up in chat in a second. Nice, we got a portal, very good. Guardian is harder because almost no health and can be one-shot if you're not dodging. I think people always say that, but to be honest, Guardian in open world is like you have a lot of H's. You have a lot of like general blocks in your kit. You have, in my opinion, amazing self-sustain with all the potential of healing and stuff. I think Guardian is not necessarily harder than Ranger. In open world, you might be right, Untamed is absolutely busted, but Guardian has so many good specs as well. I think Willbender is so insane as well. You just have to have the right build for it. Come on, heal me, please. That's like the main issue that I have when I have a Firebrand in my party. That's why I think Firebrand is way harder than a lot of other people notice. I always have trouble. I almost like never get a Firebrand in a Fractal group that actually heals in the water phase enough. I don't know why. It's so easy to heal on Firebrand. It's just spam your buttons, but it feels so bad. They often don't know how to heal. Dodging heals, the elite skill, the tomes can heal. There are so many ways to heal, but I don't know. They feel like I have no healing output. It was close, very close. I mean, we did it. I was even top DPS with my scuffed rotation. Not good, not good. I don't know. Heal Firebrand is a really good spec if you can play it. That's the important part. But the problem is, it's not that easy to play. And most people just, especially in the chaotic movement of fights and stuff, oftentimes people are like not as like good with it as they should be, especially in fights where you need to heal a lot. I have the issue that people often like completely miss their attacks and their healing and stuff, and then I get nothing, no quickness, no heals. Feels really bad. So why do I have to leave so far? That's so sad. Some CC down. Again, not perfect rotation, so please bear with me here. Still learning the class. Or yeah, not necessarily the class, more like the build. I play Harbinger in competitive modes a lot. That was quite painful, to be honest. That was like very scary sorrow there, I have to be honest. Very scary. Hopefully we have enough CC for the next one. Okay, focus a bit on it. So there we go, there we go. Okay, I think we have it now, hopefully. That was a greedy transfer. Very good, we did it. Always an adventure, to be honest. Always an adventure with fractal pucks. There we go. Last CC and we are done. Maybe not. Okay. I guess we don't CC. Maybe we are not done. Crazy. Yeah, that's what you get if you think you have enough damage. I think most Firebrands don't use the third skill in the heal tome of cooldown. Yeah, that is horrible. I think the 3 skill is so important because it's not only the rehealing that you get from it, but it's also the vigor that you get there. You know, vigor is so good on like a lot of fights, especially if you need to like survive. It's really, really important. So it feels so bad. Most of the Guardian don't blast the healing fields. That's my opinion as Guardian main. Yeah, exactly. I think there are so many good tools, you know, that you have in your healing tome, especially in combination with your F1 tome. So if you use your, for example, your, how's it called? Force skill in the F2 tome. Where is she? There. So if you use your Force skill in your healing tome, you create a water field, and then if you swap into your F1 tome, you actually get access to a blast finish on the 2 skill, so you get some water field blasting going on. And if you then use another blast finisher, for example Staff 2, on that as well, you get even more blasts. It's actually crazy how much like healing you can get just out of your combo potential. But not all the people are using that, and that's always a problem. Always a problem. If you don't know your kit, you struggle with it, you know, to heal with that. Hope that makes sense. So now let's play a power build. I'm a little bit more like accustomed to this one. Very good. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Concentrate again. Nice, we did it. Did we get an... Yes, we get a portal. Very good. Yeah, like I said, I don't mind the heal firebrand. I actually don't mind it. But the problem is, oftentimes, at least the people that I encounter in fractals, especially in raids and strike missions, they don't know how to do it. And then it feels really bad. Like having like 50% quickness uptime. I would rather have a healer that is not as meta, like, I don't know, like a quickness heal harbinger that gives me 95% quickness uptime, to be honest. I'm really like, I'm not shocking. But what can you do, you know? You can't pick and choose that much in Guild Wars 2 when you're looking for people. That's just how it goes, I guess. We have a power daredevil now, I guess. Yeah, nice. We don't see that often. But it's good. It's good in the boss encounters at least. Not necessarily in the cleave encounters. Yeah, if you have any questions to the fractals, let me know. Always happy to help. Of course, I will catch up and chat as soon as I can. I have to concentrate, of course, in the challenge modes a little bit more than in other content that I play usually, just to make sure that I don't grieve my group by dying or not doing the mechanics. Boon DPS for both Kata and Tempest, both use full circuit gear. They don't need boon duration. Yeah, I think a lot of most of the offensive supporters nowadays don't need any boon duration, like Chronomancer, like, what else is there? Quickness Herald, all of those, they don't need that at all. It's like really crazy how they balanced or changed it so that you don't need any boon duration on most builds. If they don't want to be like perfect uptime in 100% of the cases, you can most of the time run full aggressive gear without any boon duration and you will be fine. Especially if you have builds like Herald where you actually get a lot of concentration just passively by taking the quickness trait because you have a conversion power to quickness or power to concentration. It's crazy, yeah. What's your favorite spec overall? Just from the looks of it, probably Mirage, just from how it feels, but I play all the specs. I don't have a single favorite spec. I play all of them and have fun depending on the current mood, I would say. The closest thing to a healer I can play is a Mace Shield Mechanist. I mean, that's good. Mace Shield Mechanist is not a bad healer. Yeah, I think it's in general, I would say it's okay. It got nerfed quite hard, but I think it's definitely a decent healer. I would not mind playing with this, to be honest. I don't mind at all. Do we have any reflect? I mean, we have the guard. I'm not sure if I trust the guard. Let's see. Probably better safe than sorry and take the reflect. I think blast finishers are way too unknown in general. Yeah, I think that's a problem. A lot of people that play nowadays don't play it at the beginning of the game. That's just usual. That's how it goes. You know, you don't have to like play a game for 12 years. You can start the game like 2 years ago or something. And in the current Guild Wars 2, you don't need to actually blast finishes are very uncommon. But in the original base game, like when at core Guild Wars 2, that was like one of the main things to do. Blasting might, blasting heals, blasting stealth. So it was really like one of the most common things to do. So people that played back then typically know that and notice it in like all the game modes right now. But if you are like rather new, you think, okay, this is a blast finisher, who cares, yeah? But it's actually surprisingly strong if you know what you're doing. So this is like, sadly, like not a lot of newer players that actually did not play the game before, like 10 years ago or something like that. They might struggle a bit with understanding how important blast finishers can be. Don't get me wrong, they don't need to be that good. Sometimes they are completely worthless because it's just like sometimes it's just not useful because you have enough heals or enough might or whatever all the time. So it's not as important as it was back then, but it's definitely something that can be very worthwhile if you know what you're doing, especially on Firebrand, where you have so much access to it anyway on your potent skills. So you can just double up, so to say, in the value that you would normally get. Stuff like that is just amazing. But there are some classes like, I don't know, typically, for example, Chronomancer or stuff like that, you have almost no important blast finishers just because it's like, why would you blast an ethereal field? Most of the time, that's just not worth it. Stuff like that. There are obviously some differences depending on which class you're playing. Very good. There's my alacrity. No alacrity, I guess. Very good. Let's focus on the boss for a little bit and then we... No, I'm doomed. No, we will get the kill. There we go. I'm on EU, but as I'm ArenaNet partner, I can swap to NA freely. But currently I'm playing, of course, in EU because NA is sleeping right now. At least most people. And therefore, there would not be that much action. But at some point, I will do some things on NA as well. Maybe some PvP, maybe some fractals and stuff. Just to get some, maybe some trainings as well, you know. So, we'll do that in the future. Yeah, exactly. Battle Princess. Exactly. That's the whole. I should actually create a character, rename my character like that. That would be so good. Probably already taken, you know. But yeah, definitely. No, it's me again. No, no, no. Not me. My DPS is now gone. Oh no. They have to play World vs. World to learn about Blast Finisher? Yeah, that is probably true. I think a lot of like people that play only PvE don't care about Blast Finishers at all. But in competitive modes, it's maybe a little bit more like common. But even there, I would say it got power creeped. You know, it's not like they are useless, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying there are so many skills nowadays that don't require you to use a Blast Finisher. And you can still get a lot of value from it. That's just how the balancing goes. A lot of power feature creep. And blast finishers are not necessarily in there anymore. Which is completely okay, you know, I don't want the game to be extremely hard. I'm just saying it's a little bit sad because the combo finishers, in my opinion, are a really cool addition to the game. And I like that concept that some classes get access to those, some classes not. And then if you combine different classes with each other, they can actually get really cool combos going that you normally wouldn't be able to do. So I like that. Oh no, we have the bug. Oh no, no, no. Very good, we got the CC anyway. Oops. Was too fast, that's okay. I don't know where our alacrity went. The alacrity is really bad now. I don't know what happened. So now, there we go. Players underestimate how much might is generated by blasting. Ooh, my... I almost died there. Almost. Some healing, please. Nice. I missed my whole burst combo. Oh no. Because of the healing that I needed earlier. That's fine. That's fine. We did it anyway. Very good. Yeah. I really don't care much if supports can't generate 25 stacks of might. Yeah, it's crazy. In PvE, if you don't have 25 stacks of might, that's like, that feels really bad. But I think most classes can do that nowadays, especially like the supports, the offensive ones, and the DPS players help as well. But blasting might combo fields, for example, on Elementalist, Tempest in specific, is actually really strong and really important for that build to keep up 25 might. But you're completely right. I think people underestimate how strong might blasting still is, how strong healing is from blast finishers in water fields. But even stealth blasting can be really strong in some encounters, especially like fractals and dungeons and stuff, where you really want to skip stuff. But of course, that's not what most people play nowadays. They play like strike missions, open world, and there it just does not matter. It just doesn't. Which is completely okay, you know. You don't have to play every single part of the game and every single mechanic has to matter. Just saying, if you play those modes, you have a little bit more chances of actually understanding how important it can be. I want to pick up a power DPS for fractal strikes. Any fun suggestions? I really like Power Virtuoso because it has nice burst damage, while also having a lot of defensive like evades, invulnerability, blocks, stuff like that. That's amazing. So I really like that. But if you want the highest DPS for fractals, Soul Beast, Scrapper, and Dragon Hunter are the best choices for power DPS, and Weaver. Those four are really strong. But I really like to play Power Virtuoso because I can play with pull, blocks, CC, have all in the kit, so to say, for a little bit of a DPS loss, which is in most cases, so to say, not really a DPS loss. Because if I survive easier, because I can't trust my supports all the time, then in the long run I will probably do more damage, which is true for like almost all packs. So that's my reasoning behind playing this. So I would recommend it. It's fun to play, it's strong, and has multiple weapon choices. So if you don't like Spear, you can go for Greatsword. If you don't like Dagger, you can go for Greatsword and Spear. Many choices there. That's quite cool. I like that about this build as well. Ooh. I mean, the healing output is surprisingly low. That's good, we didn't break it in time. That's good, we can break it after that. Very good, very good. I really don't know who's the alacrity provider. The Chronomancer has to be the provider, but the alacrity time is like really low. I have like 60% uptime, 50% even. That's crazy. Nice, 6 AM in the morning. Good morning then. Very good, very good. Now I get the focus pull, for example. That's why I like Power Virtuoso. You can just equip a focus and it will be completely fine as well. What's your opinion on the Luminary compared to the other specs? Yeah, I think Luminary looks quite lackluster. It's probably one of the most dull specs, a little bit boring. But I think the Luminary is the one that gets the most attention by the devs right now. They are really looking into it to improve it. They already said they changed some traits around, so that's now a little bit easier to get the alacrity and other stuff on top of that. So they are actually improving it already before the beta event, and we will obviously see it in the beta event coming up on Wednesday. And I will cover that, of course, as well on stream. And hopefully we find a build that is absolutely busted as well on Luminary. So maybe it will be very fun to play. Nice, we got the... Not completely, to be honest. Can pull this with a mower. It's a weird part. If you mower this guy, he will run to you and you can then kill him. Kitless Power Scrapper, that is a lot of barrier you get. Exactly, Power Scrapper is insane how much barrier you can output. I would highly recommend that if you don't trust your party and don't want to have active defensive, passive defenses, like for example having crazy amounts of health with the barrier. It's really strong as well. I would say it's probably the safest bet if you don't like Virtuoso. Yeah. Soul Beast and Dragon Hunter have potentially more damage in fractals, but are also, I would say, a little bit... Oh, come on. A little bit harder to play, especially if your support doesn't provide H's or stability on Soul Beast. If you do your X burst and you get interrupted, that is horrible. So Scrapper and Virtuoso have a better time there. been playing a lot of Soul Beast and just started trying out Untamed. I don't understand how Soul Beast wouldn't be the one that I always choose. Yeah, Untamed is, I would say, Untamed is good, don't get me wrong. I just think Soul Beast in a lot of cases is just superior because you have more burst. And then typically you want to have the build that does more burst if you're already playing a power build. So I'm with you there. I think Untamed is not as good as Soul Beast in most circumstances, but it's really good. I personally think Untamed is in the long run. So if you have a build that is, or in the, like a raid fight or something, that might be like worth playing an Untamed. Because then your damage might be better if there are no phases, because the overall number is, as far as I know, a little bit higher than it is, for example, for Soul Beast, but the burst is higher on Soul Beast. So in shorter fights like Fractals and stuff, Soul Beast is better. Yeah, Nightmare Fractal has the best writing, I agree. Now let's swap to the Kite Slaying, very good. So, hopefully we get the burst right here now. Oh, we did not... Did we get... The, yeah, we won against the Weaver. Very good. But the alacrity uptime is not good. The alacrity uptime is not good. That's a little bit sad. So let's try to focus again, and I will catch up in chat after this fractal. Okay, looks good so far. Yeah, you see Power Virtuoso doesn't. In general, Power Weaver should have higher damage than a Power Virtuoso, but because I'm safer, I have some ranged options as well. This is like pulling ahead, yeah. So I really like to recommend this build, even though it's not like top tier for most people. It's really, really good. Is Scrapper hard to play? I think if you play the maximum damage build and really like crazy, like if you want to get the best value for it, yes, it's hard to play. But if you just want to get into it, I think it's not that hard. I have a guide on my YouTube channel if you want to check it out, where I explain every single piece of the rotation and stuff, step by step, slow-mo and stuff. You can check it out there. I recommend it. It's really fun if you're an engineer enjoyer. Yeah, really good build. And not, I would say, hard to master, not hard to get into. At least not crazy hard. There are easier builds to play, like Power Mechanist with Rival, but come on, what build is easier to play than this one? So, is Condivert harder? It's different. Condi Virtuoso is like, I would say Condi Virtuoso is a little bit more spammy than Power Virtuoso because you really spam all your blade songs all the time. But I personally think Condi Virt is easier to play because you have more self-healing, but you also have less damage. So, yeah, take what you want. Both of them are fine. Yeah. Do you think Ranger will get pistols or Rival one day? No. I think at some day maybe if we get new weapons, yes. But I think it is definitely years out until this happens. I really think so. I think it's quite unlikely that we will get a new weapon in the next 2 years. I don't see it, to be honest. Maybe we get it at some point, but I think it will be taking quite a while. Quite a while until this happens. So let's go and burst. Very good. And then Kinfall Fractal, one of my most favorite CMs right now. It's really fun. One of my most, at least the boss, the end boss is fun. The mobs are not that fun, but the end boss is really good. So, Power Virtuoso at its best. I just ignore all the mechanics with my distortion. That's how you do it. Yeah. I personally think Conduit needs a big buff. I think Conduit really needs help. I mentioned it earlier in the stream. I think if it would get a quickness as a supporter, that would be really fun. And maybe some kind of like new profession mechanic. The sights are a little bit more interesting. Yeah, for sure. I really hope that will be happening. Ooh. How did I survive that? That was close, very close. Nice, we did it. And 3 more fractals, then we are done. Very good, very good. What Condi light armor build do you recommend for fractals? Probably Condition Harbinger. Condition Harbinger is, in my opinion, the best Condi build for light armor class to play. But it depends if you're not a Necromancer enjoyer. Wait. What happened? Why did it not get the... What is going on? Yeah, I mean, weird group. Pistol data is pretty easy. That is true, but I would not recommend data in fractals. I would say for challenge modes, it's okay, but if you're playing... I don't know, if you're playing, for example, like normal tier 4 fractals where you have a lot of cleave and stuff, pistol is really bad. It's really bad at cleave. Yeah, so... I don't know. I would really say, personally, playing something that is AoE focused is oftentimes better. But if you're like only doing challenge modes on power fights, you can play a pistol Deadeye. But I would say if you're playing fractals in general, I would rather go for something that has more cleave. So for example, staff is good on thief, or any other power build has more cleave than pistol Deadeye. That's sadly the truth. Instead of new weapons, they should just rework old weapons. Definitely true. I think a lot of weapons need some help. What would you recommend for solo open world? All classes work. I have a full tier list and like all of them work. It's really, really good how good those classes are currently in open world. The only thing that I would recommend you to do is choosing a build that is somewhat good at what it wants to do. So I personally really enjoy, for example, I don't know, Condi Chronomancer, Condi Untamed. They are so easy to play, really strong. There are so many builds. Most of them, a lot of them can be Celestial. Some of them are power. Just play what you want. Yeah. What was your first legendary weapon and which is your favorite? So my first legendary weapon was Twilight. Way back like in 2014 or 13 or something. My first legendary weapon that I grinded through dungeons was legendary Twilight. Yes. Really nice weapon. I really like it to this day. It's a really nice weapon. Overall, my favorite weapon, oh, that's a tough one. It's a really tough one. I think all of them are amazing if you have the correct look for it, or most of them. Some of them are really bad, but most of them are quite good. I really like Shining Blade from the look of it, but I don't like the footstep that much. If I would just look at the footsteps, I like the Eternity ones. I also like, to be honest, I also like Exordium. There are so many good ones. There's so much drama going on in the group. You don't see the chat, but there's so much drama going on here. It's crazy. Yeah, that was the first legendary. I have a full like tier list for my rating of the legendary weapons, which is the nicest one on my YouTube channel. So if you want to get my opinion on each one of them, how they look and stuff, because I have like 95% of the legendaries, you can check out this YouTube video. It's 1 hour of tier lists rambling about just how nice specific legendaries look. Yeah, it was a fun time doing that on stream. What's your opinion on Spear? Only fire, Condi Evoker? Do you think it's possible? No, I don't think so. The problem is Spear is really like... Spear on Elementalist is a power-based weapon. It really is. There is almost no like value for Condi stats in there. Why would you go a Condi build on a Spear Elementalist? It doesn't make any sense. It's really sad. I think there will be a Scepter fire-only Condi Evoker. Yes, that will be the case. But there will be no Spear Condi Invoker. I don't see that. If they don't give any like crazy Condi scaling to Spear. Oh my god, my PC glitched. Oh no. I will be right back. Give me a second. Oh no. It's too hot in here. Game crashed. Happens from time to time. Happens. I have like 30 degrees in my room here, if you're wondering. Yeah. So we are back. We are back. At least the stream did not crash. Very good. Any tips, utility skill tips for Mesmer? I'm having some tiny trouble surviving in Season 2. So I think if you have trouble surviving, I personally would recommend... Do we have another CC? No, we just have someone changing. Interesting. Yeah. Blink can be helpful, you know, just get out of dangerous positions. What else do we have? What else can be good on an elemental on this one here? Sometimes stealth, Condi cleanses, your mantras can be really helpful. Stuff like that. Sometimes Signal of Illusions can be really helpful, you know, to reset your shatters. But other than that, I would say you can even go for the utility skills of Virtuoso. That gives you some nice, how is it called? Invulnerability with Blade Renewal here. Stuff like that. But I think I would always recommend, if you want to survive, try to either play a meta build and try to get the best gear for it, or play a solo build, stuff like that. Then you already have some nice sustain in there. And if you still can't survive, I would say maybe get some friends that can help you as well. Stuff like that. But you should not necessarily, especially in Season 2, to be honest, I think there should not be that much. Like, if you play a really decent build, you should not have trouble even if you're not the best player. I think it should not be the hardest content in the game, to be honest. So I think you can improve your build and go for more like celestial stats or stuff like that can help you way more than switching one utility skill because, oh my god, what is the team doing? What are they doing? Oh my god. Dying left and right, I guess. Interesting. This is very chaotic fractal group. Just the usual pugging experience, I guess. Just the usual. At least we are done with the challenge modes after this fractal. And we can continue. I think Obsidian armor for the first legendary is not a bad choice. It is a grind, don't get me wrong. It takes a while to get there, but it is really nice to get the legendary armor. Legendary armor is something that's really valuable because you use it on like a lot of different classes, obviously, and you can easily exchange your gear, that like the builds and stuff. So I think it's a good choice. Yes, it's a little bit grindy, but good choice. Takes a while, but you will get there. No. That's not what you want to do, by the way. Not jumping down with stealth. That doesn't help the group. Really good, really good. Okay, I made it. Now I can use my light. Very good. Light. And there we go. So hard, the early part of this fractal. So let me change my stuff around. Very good. And there we go. Yeah, I think legendaries in this game is the end game. You know, getting new skins and stuff. Legendary is very convenient stuff as well. I like to go for that. I have a lot of them. It's really nice. When are you doing a tier list of your tier lists? I actually did that already. It was some kind of April Fool's video. I released it on the 1st of April this year. It is, but not really like a April Fool's in that sense, because it was a real tier list where I really think which tier list helps new players, for example, the most. Stuff like that. But I personally think, oh my god, 2 people died. What are you doing, guys? This is like a really bad group. That's crazy. Because this fractal is really not hard, especially the end boss, even the challenge mode. You just have to sidestep it a bit. But, I mean, not everyone knows that. You have to learn it a bit. But definitely not too hard to learn, not too hard to play. You know, just sidestep. And now you have to move out a bit. There we go. And go back in. Ugh. That is a little bit scary, to be honest. The agony can kill you here. If your healer heals when you have the agony, ooh, painful. It's fine, I guess now. Now the CC happens. Don't have any CC. That's okay. Very good. Just deal damage. I have a little bit of CC. There we go. Now we have to spread. No one died. Very good. I'm trying to decide on main. Do you have any recommendations? I personally would say go for the one that you enjoy the most. Like I always say, that's a boring answer, I know, but it's really important that you enjoy the class that you pick. You should not pick a class just because some content creator or anyone says this is like the best class to play right now. You should have fun on your class fantasy. If you don't have that, that's always a problem. So choose the class that you enjoy. I have tier lists for all of those. So if you're a specific game mode enjoyer, only enjoy like PvP, then you should of course take a look at the specific game mode of the balance of that one, which currently is the best one. But definitely like not something that I would say should matter too much in your decision making. I think it's way more important that you choose something that you like the look of, that you like the gameplay loop of, stuff like that. I personally really enjoy Mesmer right now because it's really good across all game modes, especially Chronomancer, but there are so many choices that you can easily make, easily. I would not recommend going for hard classes in the beginning either if you don't like the challenge. But like I said, there is almost no wrong class. I would say there is no wrong class. Choose the one that you enjoy. There is always a good build for each game mode actually. Some might be better than others. That should not matter to you though as a new player, especially because you might reach the end game at a point where the balance is different. So keep that in mind. Thanks. Fatty McCool, thanks a lot. Really appreciate the support. And Dre, thanks a lot for the Prime. Really appreciate the support. Thanks a lot. Does it make sense when I'm maining Engineer but also like to play all other classes to go for medium Obsidian Armor? I already have Berserk and Harry Ascended. Do you think it would make more sense to go, for example, for light Obsidian Armor? That depends a bit. If you are in the future want to play different builds on light armor classes as well, yes, that might be true. But if you are willing to play, for example, Engineer, Ranger, Thief as well, on top of your normal Engineer, then I would say it's actually better to stick with medium. I think both of them are completely fine. It depends a bit on your playstyle. In the end, you might go for all of them anyway, but if you only want to play Engineer and only light armor classes, then actually I think the smarter choice would go for light armor classes. Yeah, I'm with you there. I actually think that might be the smarter way of handling things. Doesn't mean it is the only way, of course. Oh my god. Gets instant CC locked. Yeah, so that's my answer there. I just finished the Chantier Legend USB and it was so much grinding. Yeah, it's nice. It's a lot of grind, but if you get it, it's a nice looking skin. Congrats to you. I know the grind. I know it. Yeah. Most Guild Wars 2 bosses are easy, but only a few people explain it in squad groups. Yeah, that's a big problem. That Guild Wars 2 PvE, especially raids and fractals, are actually not hard at all. But the problem is, a lot of new players need someone to teach them, to actually make them easy. But if no one taught them anything, then they have to have a very bad experience of learning it, because you really have to stick and try to learn it yourself. That's always very painful. And yeah, what can I say? I try my best to teach stuff on stream. If you have any specific question about what I'm doing and why I'm doing it and stuff, I will teach it. But I can see why new players struggle a lot with this, and especially getting into fractal CMs, because you will not find a group that easily. That is horrible. That's just horrible. So if you have any questions, just ask here, or if I'm not online, ask on my Discord channel, stuff like that. We can get you some help. Maybe I will also do, if we find enough people, some raid trainings or stuff, or fractal trainings, CM trainings, of course, and stuff. Just let me know. I will do that in the future as well. Stuff like that is really important to me. I want to get more people excited for PvE in Guild Wars 2 and endgame PvE specifically, not only open world, because I think that's one of the best parts about the game, is just the really cool combat system in dungeons, fractals, strike missions, raids, stuff like that. I really, really enjoyed it. And I hope I can get more people to play this. I, of course, also like the competitive modes, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying the endgame PvE is not as hard to get into as you might think, especially because it's not that hard actually to play. You just have to find people that actually are willing to try it out with you as someone that is somewhat new at the game. Yeah. There are more questions about how many builds in total you want to play. Yeah, and of course, don't forget, if you only play light armor with Berserker gear, the legendary armor might not be worth it anyway. Yeah. So if there are like 10 builds that you play and all of them have full Berserker armor, then it might not be worth it either way. You should go for one that you really like, have 10 different gear stats. Yeah. Like Mesmer uses Rampager's gear on Viper and Sinister gear on Condi Virtuoso. Then it uses Power and Assassin Berserker gear on Chronomancer. Uses Viper gear on Mirage. So there are so many like possible things on Mesmer. But if you don't play those builds and only play Berserker builds, then it's probably the smarter choice to stick with something where you play different gear stats. Hope that makes sense. Rerolling from Chrono main to Elementalist main with full learning curve, worth it? What can I say? I personally think right now Mesmer is in a better spot, like in terms of flexibility and stuff. Doesn't mean it's bad to reroll to Elementalist, but I personally think Elementalist is harder to play and has a little bit less like usability in PUX groups and PvE and stuff. But if you are willing to go like the extra mile and really try to get the build perfectly down, I think the carry potential is also really high if you know what you're doing, because you have crazy good damage right now and it will only get better with the expansion. So I think it's worth it if you like it. Yeah, if you like the class design, it's definitely worth it. And I really always mentioned it here on stream, variety is the spice of life, and that's also very true for Guild Wars 2. So just playing like different classes, different builds is keeping you playing the game way longer than if you would like set yourself a goal like getting like 10k gold or something. That's just an artificial goal. Playing different classes is way more fun, you know. Getting better classes, in my opinion, is always something that keeps you entertained for the game for much, much longer, at least in my opinion. Yeah, Fire Wizard Fire Wizard will be a really good spec coming with the expansion. At least for low intensity builds purposes, yeah. No, I got blinded. Yeah, I think all elite specs will be really good. I think it would be like a shame if there's a single elite spec coming with the expansion that will be not good. I really don't think so, to be honest. I think they really want to sell the expansion, so it's quite likely that they will actually give us some crazy good, probably overpowered elite specs. I really would imagine that. It's kind of hard because I don't feel Ranger and Thief currently, and Elementalist Necromesmer feel better, so I might go for Light Armor. Yeah, always happy to help, and I mean, it sounds like a good plan. I'm more active on YouTube, I would say. I upload one video each day, typically on YouTube. On Twitch, I stream like typically 3 times a week. So if you want to catch me live, you have to catch me during those times. But on YouTube, you obviously see me all the time, and I will stream on YouTube and Twitch. So both of that is always like the case. But I can definitely see my YouTube is more active, I would say. Yeah. But both of them are quite active. So yeah, sure, Pupsy, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, Scrapper is really fast-paced. Scrapper has a lot of buttons that you press very like fast. It's quite high APM. At least the meta build has actually quite high APM. That's just how it goes. Elementalist is less flexible. Yeah, I think Mesmer is better in like flexibility, and probably because of that also better to get into, at least in my opinion. But if you enjoy the class fantasy of Elementalist is really good right now as well. It's not like bad. It's just like Mesmer is just superior in like flexibility. Just that's the main point here. So there we go. yeah, the 10k. How is it called? god or goddess of World vs. World title, yeah, that takes a while. You know, I played the game since like almost launch, like 12 years ago. I started playing, and yeah, I'm not even halfway there. Of course, it's not my main game mode, World vs. World, but it takes a while getting there, and it's a fun goal for sure. I like that. I personally am a big enjoyer of those long-term grindy achievements. I always like those, but you should not set that your main priority. I think you should enjoy World vs. World as it is. If you do that, you will get there in years to come, I guess, but it takes a while. If you don't enjoy World vs. World and you just set yourself this goal, then don't do it. You know, just don't do it. It's really important that you play stuff that you actually enjoy. Yeah. Okay, my full group is here now. That's good, but we actually did a rather good job at doing it here. It's good. It's good. It's good. What class has great mobility, crazy DPS, easy to solo open world with? Probably Mirage. Mirage is amazing for that. Or Spectre. Those two, I would say, have crazy mobility and crazy good utility in the kit as well. But there are so many nowadays. There are so many. It's just like my favorite ones to pick. Maybe chat has some ideas as well. But there are so many. Should there be an alternate source limited by achievement or otherwise to obtain gifts of battle? That would be... I think yes, personally. But I think it's a little bit sad that people only go in World vs. World for that. I think World vs. World is a great game mode, and I think people should play it because it's really fun. But I can understand how painful it is if you don't like it, because you have to get it for the legendary. So I think if there's an achievement to get it, maybe that would help. Yeah, stuff like that. Maybe it's limited. Yeah, I think, to be honest, yeah, I think that would be at least somewhat helping. Yeah. But I can see how this is a hot take. I definitely can see that. Was it a bad choice as returning player? No, I wouldn't say so. There is no real bad choice. If you enjoy it, that's good enough. Yes, I'm an ANET partner. Starting last month, I got ANET partnership. So, yes, very good. What bothers me a bit is how difficult it is to get gear for every spec for every game mode. Yeah, I think if you are going for always the best in slot gear and play like 20 different builds and have no legendary gear, yes, that can be a little bit annoying. But if you have the legendaries, it's so easy. You know, that's why legendaries are so amazing, because you can actually use them on so many different builds all the time. That's why I have like full legendary and play all the builds and stuff, because for me it's like it takes 2 minutes to set up a new build. It's amazing. So legendaries have a really big convenience in that regard. So highly recommended to get it and set yourself some goals there, at least in my opinion. Yeah. So we have a question here in German. I will translate it so that everyone understands it. What's my favorite pizza and what part would I not really like to have on the pizza at all? So my answer to this one is my favorite pizza. I'm really sorry, I'm really boring. Is actually mozzarella pizza. So just like margarita, something like that, with some kind of mozzarella cheese on there. That's my favorite one. And what I don't like to have on my pizza at all, that's like a little bit of a tough question. I'm not like that like picky when it comes to food. But I guess of maybe some kind of seafood. I'm not the biggest seafood fan. People do that as well, some kind of mussels or something like that, or how is it called? Something like that. I don't like that. But I'm not that picky. Yeah. So I would say, hopefully that answers your question, Poopsie. Yes. Thanks, Aika. Check stream description. That is true. That is true. You know, it's always like I try to put everything in my... Oh my god, it was close. I was almost dashing down. I always try to put most important information in my screen description, but if you put all of the important information there, it's like so full that you don't know what actually is like in there. So yeah, it's in there. That is true. Thanks for pointing that out. Yeah, it was last month. They gave it last month. They gave like over 50 people new ArenaNet partnership, so I was one of the lucky ones. Yes, I'm really happy that I got that. Even did some giveaways and stuff. I was like really, really nice. So now you can not only like support me by using my referral link if you want to purchase the expansions. Link is of course in the description as well on YouTube and Twitch. But you can, of course, also like expect more cool content from me. For example, like watching some monthly ATs, swapping to NA, and that kind of stuff. It's way more easy now. Stuff like that. It's really cool. I'm happy that I can do this stuff for you now. And yeah, we will see how much I can get done in the next few weeks regarding those things that I just told you. Hopefully, I have the time to also manage that. Oh my god, so painful. This guy is really like, this is like the hardest boss in the game. I'm always using my teleports and dashes, and this guy is teleporting like crazy, and I'm falling down all the time. So mean, so mean. Good choice, nice. At least someone here in chat agrees with me. Good choice with the pizza. That's what we like. I had a comment rather like a while ago, and I was like not making any friends with my food choices there, so I better be safe here now with the pizza choice. That's good, that's good. Yeah, keep it simple. Yeah, I liked it. I'm somewhat of a purist, you know. If you look at my inventory, I have a big inventory and clean it, and that's like my whole life, somewhat of that. I don't want to have it overly complicated. I like to have stuff that is somewhat like nice and fine and somewhat nice and sorted. Yeah, that's my tip. Tofu, tuna, shrimps, feta cheese, olive, gorgonzola. I actually don't mind any of them, to be honest. I would not choose them if I had the choice. I think olives are probably the thing that I dislike the most out of this thing. I think olives are too bitter for me. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm too young. I think older people like that way more. But I'm really like, olives is not my thing. But other than that, I don't care, to be honest. I would always choose, if I had the choice, I would probably choose margarita, but that's about it. If I would have not margarita and those choices, they seem all decent, yeah. Other than olives, I guess. Yeah, I can understand you, Barian. I think Gift of Battle is definitely hard to acquire if you are only a PvE player, for sure. And that's why they might actually do it in the future. I actually see that coming, yeah. By the way, because I see my sunrise here, I currently have a legendary giveaway going on. So if you have not entered my giveaway on my YouTube channel, be sure to check it out. You have one more day, not only 24 hours more left to get this sunrise. You know, just entering the giveaway, you have a chance of winning. So be sure to check that out. Just type !giveaway in the Twitch chat, or go on YouTube, scroll down to the description again, and you will see the link to the video there as well. Just want to mention that when I see it here. Now let's go for some Cold War, I guess. Often they give the partnership to sponsored streamers that drop the game after promotion. Yeah, I think they really tried to make it a little bit different this time. They really wanted to promote people that are somewhat like putting hard work in and stick with the game, even if they are small. So I really like that idea, because obviously I'm one of them. So I'm hoping for more active like ANET partnership stuff, because that's, I think, the best. I don't know, for me personally, I think it's one of the best ways to actually promote the game. I think the advertisement of Guild Wars 2 is not the best all the time, and making people play the game and actually create content about it, that's probably one of the best ways to yeah, make that happen. So let's go and play some Cold War. I think pineapple, I don't mind pineapple either, yeah. No, we don't already have to. Very good. Very good, we have quick DPS as well. Looks good. Let me quickly set up the group, and then we can talk again about pizza and pineapple and stuff. I actually like pineapple on pizza. It's not my favorite choice, but it's definitely not bad either. The expansion will drop on the 28th of October. 28th of October. So end of October, we have 2 months, a little bit more than 2 months until then. So I'm already hyped, but it takes a while a bit, yeah. Tomato is a fruit, that is true. Tomato is a fruit. And I like tomato, that's that. Yeah, I will let you know. I will let you know. Nice, we have the full group, and now it probably fills in an instant. Classic. Yeah, took actually quite long. So, healing food, very good. Kiwi on pizza is worse. Yeah, I mean, that sounds horrible. That sounds quite bad. But I mean, I also heard some people putting some kind of like fries on the pizza. That sounds also quite bad. And I actually heard someone also putting, and that sounds like disgusting to me, you know, the German or Austrian schnitzel, you know, this like meat thing. People put that on the pizza, and that sounds horrible. I mean, that's like insane to me if you put that on a pizza. That sounds like crazy. Absolutely crazy. There's some big streamer right now that put the game in a very good light. His promotion is way better than the last. Yeah, that's perfect. You know, that's what we want. We want to have people that are somewhat acknowledged by other like gamers and trying out the game and sharing their thoughts about it because the game is good. You know, we want to get more promotion like that. I think Ain't doesn't have to do any crazy trailers if they have enough people that are big streaming the game, making content on YouTube, stuff like that. So I really hope they push that more. It's really nice, I think. Yeah. I think I actually don't mind fries if they are small, but if they're really big, that's just annoying. But putting a full schnitzel on the pizza, it's like just insane to me. It's absolutely insane. But I mean, if you like it, sure. I'm just saying it's not my thing. It's not my thing. Nice. Sounds good, Sky. Sounds good. So at that point, you might as well put tomato and cheese on the schnitzel. Good point, yeah. You could just turn it around and just leave the crust of the pizza away, yeah. I liked it, I liked it. Welcome, Corporation. Welcome. Yeah, I think there are a lot of, like, Canon is playing Guild Wars 2, Sepla is playing Guild Wars 2, and those are like big or somewhat big streamers that come from other MMOs, and that's really nice if they play the game and actually like it, or at least it seems like they like it, and that's really good. That's good promotion, you know. And I notice it as well. I'm a small content creator, obviously, but I notice that I got so many people in my YouTube comments, in my Twitch chat, saying, oh, I'm a returning player, I'm a new player, and that's crazy because the game itself didn't get any updates in the last month. Yeah, just saying. There was not a big content update, not an expansion drop, but a lot of people came back to the game because they said, yeah, or came for the first time to the game because they actually think, oh, this looks good. People play it. There is some promotion. There is some interest in that. And that's really good. That's what we like. You know, we want to have more people that actually see the game and will enjoy it because of that. So interesting. Why did I get alacrity from another subgroup? Interesting. Got Skyscale in Living World Season 4. In Soto, can it be finished in a day? Yes. If you use some gold, you can finish it in a day. If you want to get it the cheapest option possible, you would go for time-gated materials there and stuff. But if you want to get it instantly, everything there, you can get it in a day, as far as I know. You can skip a lot of stuff with gold. I would not necessarily recommend that, but I think if you really want to get it done, definitely doable. Yeah. I'm from Germany. That's why my accent is a little bit strange. Sorry for that. Hopefully you can still understand me though. How big is the Guild Wars 2 player base nowadays? Really hard to say. We don't have any official numbers, but it is surprisingly big. The casual audience is, I would say, very big. I would say the Guild Wars 2 community as a whole is probably in the top 5 MMOs in terms of player base numbers. But the sad part is you never see that in the social media because most of the Guild Wars 2 player base is somewhat casual. They don't engage a lot with social media. So the streaming numbers are insanely low. The YouTube numbers are okay. But it's really like the game is way more about people play it. They don't engage with a lot of content outside of the game. There is only a very small fraction that plays PvP in competitive modes. Especially PvP, world versus world is more common, but it's mainly about open world. It's really open world is the thing that people are the most interested in. So I would say the player base is somewhat big, even though the numbers of the sales are going down. They are probably going down because we don't get that much content with each expansion. But it's still quite active, yeah. Like I said, I think it has daily logins from like, I don't know the exact numbers, but the daily logins are very high for a game that is that old. Definitely. It's definitely, like I said, in the top 5, I would say. Oh, thanks for correcting me, Alka. 3 days is the minimum. Okay. But it's very fast if you do it at the time gate. Yeah, well, thanks for the nice wishes from Germany. Yeah. But hopefully it's not too bad, you know. I always tell it on stream, but I have a lot of Germans criticizing my English because of my pronunciation. So I'm happy if you say it's good enough. That's the important part. Yeah, exactly. Like Sky points it out, it's probably around like at least 500,000 active players, but it's really hard. We don't have any like real numbers for that. The problem for that is as well that we don't have the numbers because no serious company like Blizzard's, Final Fantasies, like Square Enix, they never published those numbers. They did it once, I think, like years ago. But the problem is, as soon as you publish those numbers, yeah, they seem like good at the beginning. But as soon as they fall, the player base says, "Oh my god, we lose players. The game has to be shit." And that means that you are having, so to say, negative advertisement. So better not releasing the numbers at all, because then you don't have any advertisement in either direction. So that's why ArenaNet never releases player numbers. Never. So you can just make educated guesses to some extent, but I think the numbers are actually surprisingly high, even though the general activity on social media, like Twitch especially, is quite low because people are just not as committed to the game. They are just playing the game, don't care about playing the perfect build, watching a streamer play it, make some hard content or something work. This is not the typical behavior of the Guild Wars 2 player, which is sad because the game is really fun if you want to play it a little bit more committed, but I can totally understand it as well. Just saying that my impressions here. A game's player base size doesn't really matter. Players focus way too much on it. What really matters is you can find enough people for the things you want to do. Yeah, I think what is really amazing is that even if you have a really small player base, and if it's just really committed and really like try hard and really just always focusing on getting the best for the game, then this is probably even better than having a large player base that doesn't really care about the game's development and state. You want to have a really positive community, even if it's not that big. That's way better than having a community that is insanely like large, but no one really cares and no one is friendly and not really welcoming and stuff. So definitely good point by Alka. The player base is not the most important part. It's more about if you are enjoying open world, Guild Wars 2 is amazing. If you enjoy raiding and strike missions and fractals and that kind of stuff, like dungeons and stuff, Guild Wars 2 has a good community for that as well. It's not the biggest. It doesn't get the biggest updates. That's the important part. You will not get like 10 different dungeons each year. That's not gonna happen. You get one. That's it. So if you're looking for something like that, maybe Guild Wars is not the right game for you. If you're looking for a crazy tryhard MMO PvP experience, that might also not be the right game for you. But the open world, the meta events, the just general gameplay loop, a lot of story content, stuff like that, Guild Wars 2 is actually surprisingly big and very active, especially if you're looking for some kind of open world PvP as well. It's also very active. It's really like just the competitive PvP scene that is not that active, but you will see it after the strike mission. I will play some PvP as well, and even PvP and on a rather casual level is quite active. So it's just like the really try-hard scene in competitive modes, that's not that active. But in PvE, there is a lot of content to be had and a lot of people to find and play it with. Thanks for the raid. perfectly. Thanks a lot. Hope you had a nice stream. Welcome everyone. We're just debating about the Guild Wars 2 player size. So if you have any input on that, please let me know. Hope you had a nice stream. Welcome everybody. Also, Guild Wars 2 is a great system for it, thanks to mega servers. Yeah, I think Guild Wars 2 is like, the insane part about it is nowadays you don't have to select any servers anymore. Or you have to, but it's not like mattering at all. There is no, you can play on EU or NA with every single player on EU or NA. There is nothing locked behind servers anymore. Nothing. That's amazing. In PvE, in World versus World, nowhere is any locks anymore. That's really, really good. So it's just amazing. And the cool part about it is as well that never gets mentioned. Guild Wars 2 is never down for maintenance. Never. Not a single time was Guild Wars 2 down for maintenance. There was some kind of rollback at some point, but the servers are never down for maintenance. If there's a patch dropping, you have to log out to get the patch out, but there is not a single second where you can't access the servers. It's insane. And stuff like that is not mentioned enough, and I think it's one of, like, at least for me, it's amazing. It's really cool. I liked it a lot. On Steam, the Steam numbers are very low, somewhat low at least. The reason for that is the Steam numbers are obviously only players that play on Steam. And like most of the player base is not playing the game on Steam because they had it before it launched on Steam. So how can you make a real number out of that? I think the Steam player base is there and you have some players there, but it's definitely not like insane to say, oh, this is like the actual number. You can't make the statement. So I hope that makes sense there. But I definitely would say the player numbers on Steam are on top of the normal launcher. Yeah. So it's probably a decent number anyway. Yeah. Back to the pizza. I really enjoy fresh tomatoes, onion, and mozzarella. Yeah, I mean, that sounds good as well. I like that as well. No, not too bad. Fresh stuff is always good for me. I'm a fresh stuff enjoyer. That was a nasty CC. PvP feels inactive to me. Yeah, I think PvP is not as active. The thing is, PvP on a low level is okay, but it's not as active as PvE. You know, the player base in PvE is 10 times, I don't know, maybe even 100 times larger, probably even more than that, than the PvP community. It's just PvP is in Guild Wars 2, it's a niche game mode. And it's probably true for almost every single MMO out there. Like even WoW, as the biggest MMO out there, has problems keeping the PvP somewhat interesting. A lot of players just don't play PvP. If you play MMOs, it's just like typically you don't play MMOs for the like PvE aspect, a PvP aspect. That's just very uncommon. That's normal. That's normal. Yeah, it obviously depends also on the time zone, like Perfectly puts it. Definitely, there are so many aspects that you have to consider. Player base is like highly dependent, yeah. I would say the player numbers are, if you are just looking for an active game, Guild Wars 2 is more than active. Really, there is no concern for, even if you say I only play PvP, there is enough like players to actually like do that. You know, just play the stuff that you actually think is fun, and there are enough players in Guild Wars 2. But of course, it's heavily dependent on what kind of game mode you play if you want to get the active numbers. And some of them are really, really big. Some of them are not that big. Let's go into PvP now. Let's see what we can do. Playing metas and convergences really lets you feel how many players. Yeah, it's really alive. If you're going for any kind of metas, big events like convergences, but even strike missions, in my opinion, like Icebrood Saga strike missions. I do them every day, and I find like a full group within a minute, typically. Especially if I'm commanding, it goes really, really fast. You see, I'm just like, this was a PvP queue, you know? I was not even like mentioning anything. I got it in 30 seconds. So it's quite active still, you know? It's still quite active. Can someone tell me what masteries in Icebrood Saga is required to lock all the chest loot? Thanks, Alka, for posting it. But I think I never was really long into PvP queue. Even at midnight, I always find gems. Exactly. That's the thing. So let's check what we can play here. Oh my god. It's annoying. I will go Reaper. There we go. In Guild Wars 2, all content stays somewhat relevant, and still, you always find people even for small groups, event and stuff. Yeah, that's a good point. Guild Wars 2 doesn't have any vertical progression, so that means that you just play the game and you can easily play, for example, the dungeons that released with the core game. You can release the fractals that released with the core game. And then you can play Heart of Thorns raids. All of that stuff you can play, and you will still find people for it because it's still somewhat like somewhat at least at the same power level than it was released. Of course, not completely, because power creep exists and we get more balancing, and the new elite specs are somewhat cooler and more broken than the old ones, yes, but that is still completely fine, and that's a good point. So there is not a single piece of content that is like absolutely dead and no one plays it. There are some things that are a little bit more niche than others, for example dungeons, speedrunning. Back in the core game, like every single level 80 players did dungeons. But nowadays it's like very niche, but people still do it, and I can still recommend it. It's really good gold per hour. So I have a guide about it, how to make gold with dungeons. 70 gold per hour if you do it correctly. And that's a real number. I know people that actually get this. So yeah, you just have to find the correct player to play it with. Yeah. I'm current in placements. Normally I'm Platinum 1, Platinum 2, something like that. I'm currently in the placements. Is the player base dropping from the past or growing and stable? I would say it's actually somewhat stable right now, but that's a good target. What's going on here? See. Nice. Oh my gosh. This is like a low elo match. I can already tell you. 4 versus 4 of point. That's a low elo match. That is crazy. Nice, we get another kill. Ooh, get the cleave, get the cleave. Nice. Now we have to help our teammate here. This is scuffed. They get the decap there. Not good. We have to get the kill here, I guess. That's annoying. If I leave, this guy dies. My teammate dies. So I have to stay here. Not good, not good, not good. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. That was close. I mean, we have a 2 cap now, so that's good. That's good enough for me. It's a good target now. Nice. That's a kill. And no, almost got the CC. Stay there, please. There's a decap coming. Nice, we got the corrupt. Get the kill, very good. And go back. Yeah, very low elo match, what can I say? Not too exciting, not too exciting. But I got a fast Q pop, that's at least that. Yeah, definitely Giala Delphs is less popular than Octovine, and that is for a reason, I would say. But yeah, I mean, not every single like map is like same popular level, I would say. It's always about what kind of meta is currently profitable, what kind of people are actually playing and getting the achievements. So even if the map is not that like fun to play, for example, I would say a lot of people would agree with me that the second part of the Giala Delphs meta is not that fun. But even when it came out, people played it because people wanted to get their achievements there. So it's always like, it depends on the time that you're playing with, especially if you have older content, like for example Silver Wastes. It is not like as active anymore, but it's still decently active because it's the best core game gold farm, if you want to farm open world at least. So I would say there is each single map in Guild Wars 2 has active players because the mega server system helps out there. We have decent numbers and general interest in that regard because there are always gold farms on most maps, at least the newer ones. And even the other maps have some achievements in there, and the rift hunting helps as well, for example, that you go back to core maps, stuff like that. There is so much difference things to do in the game, it's actually crazy. Dodge the spear. What kind of Reaper is that? Let's go let them back. Yeah, nice, nice, nice. And then we get the CC and this guy is so dead. What? Get the corrupt and get the CC. Very nice. This is sadly not a good showcase, but what can you do? Hey, who do we have? Ah, we have good players. That is true. Good point. We have good players, but what can you do? You know, that's just how it goes. PvP matchmaking can sometimes be bad, especially in the placements. I have to mention that if the new season started last week, the season started, so there will be some like matches that are just not that fair because the placements still take place. You have to know which kind of ranking the players are. There we go. We get the kill. Should I get the? I can't get the rest there. It's too much damage. No, I will just die on point at this. There we go. We did it. So let's catch up on chat. Welcome, Bump. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, Guild Wars 2 is, in my opinion, a good game to invest time in because it values your time. That's what I really like. So each point of like time that you spend, like going for legendary gear, even ascended gear, every single thing, it matters in like 5 years. So if you quit the game, if you come back, there is always like things that value the game. So I would say because of that, I really would recommend it. It's a perfect casual game, but it can be also a very grindy try-hard game as well. It just depends heavily on what kind of player you are. This guy is a very good target. Oh my god, they have so much AoE annoying things. Renegade is really annoying to fight, I have to be honest. There we go. Yeah, so what was that now? Yeah, I mean, not really like classic Condi Reaper. I was once in the middle of the Night of and Silver Wastes and we were 5 people per lane. Still killed it. You don't need much people. Scaling was quite nice. Yeah, that's a good point as well. Guild Wars 2 has really good scaling, or at least for most maps. For most events, so definitely a good point, definitely a good point. It obviously depends a bit on what kind of event you're doing. So Guild Wars 2 is, in my opinion, the easiest if you run around as 5 people. So if you have 5 people, it gets extremely easy, the open world. So for example, in POF, so in Path of Fire, there are some bounties. And those bounties are extremely easy if you are as 5-player team. You kill them within seconds. So it's really like, it's optimized for that, so to say, or you optimized it for that. But the game can be played in each, like, you can play it as a single player, as a group. There is always some kind of like value for you to get. It's really like the game is really flexible in that regard. I personally play the game for the most of my time as a solo player. You know, I'm just playing the game alone and I have no issue at all. You know, I have like almost everything in the game unlocked without having like a real crazy friend group that gets me through all the content. You don't need that. You just have to be committed and have time and you find everything, yeah. Yeah, EU there has nice metas. I agree. I think Dragon's End is one of the best metas. It's really, really fun. And even the other ones, Zeitung meta also I like quite a lot. There are quite a lot of nice ones, definitely. It's not obviously for everyone, but I personally like them. I like them. My guild does get Giala everything. It's very profitable. Yes, Giala is actually surprisingly profitable. I know that. I'm just saying I don't like the second part. I think it's just not fun. I'm not the best judge there. That's my personal opinion. I don't think that is something that I want to do every single day. But if you want to go and get the gold, sure, definitely worth getting. Definitely worth doing. So, I think that's the end of today's stream. Thanks a lot for watching, everyone. It was really nice. I wish you a very nice weekend. Be sure to check out my YouTube channel. Like I said, we have a legendary giveaway going on. And take care. See you around. Hope that you turn in next week when I do all the beta event and try some crazy builds there. Have a nice day. See you around. Thanks for all the support. See you.